Gaming news today is all about good impressions. First, Phantom Blade Zero has brand new gameplay, and a lot like everything we've seen, I really like what I'm seeing, and they had some surprises for us. Second, Star Wars Zero Company previews are here, and they are glowing. For fans of Star Wars and XCOM style games, it looks like the game release calendar of 2026 just got one more banger for you. And third, Hogwarts Legacy 2 has officially been acknowledged in the pipeline from WB, but job postings from Avalanche are really pointing to a different approach this time around. Could we be getting a Harry Potter MMO? We'll be taking a look. Now, if you're watching this later, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my content, and that does help me out. And we do have memberships on the channel. That's how I do this full time. Periodically, we're going to run members-only chats, so if you want to be a part of what we're doing here, consider clicking join. For $5 a month, you get to be included. So let's just open up the show with the segments and all of my thoughts, and we're going to start with Phantom Blade Zero because it's looking pretty good. We need to talk about Phantom Blade Zero. We just got 11 minutes of new gameplay, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I went into this with my expectations in check. We have seen highly stylized, very fast action games revealed before, only for the final product to feel a little clunky. Up to now, Phantom Blade Zero has looked kind of nuts and very action-focused, very fast. But after watching this footage, the game has really climbed up my anticipated games list. If you have not seen the gameplay yet, it's running behind me, and you may want to watch it on your own screen because sometimes streams make it a little hard to see everything. Today, I want to break down exactly why this game shot up close to the top of my most anticipated list for the remainder of this year. So let's get into it. First, we've got to talk about the combat. That is certainly the centerpiece of a game like this. Frenetic doesn't really even begin to summarize it. It's blistering, it's chaotic, but there's a controlled element to the chaos. I like how clearly we can see what's going on. There have been a few games recently where they go a little hard on speed and particle effects, and it can create an almost blurring effect where it's hard to see what is happening. Now, if you look at this, and you guys know me, and you know the kind of games that I like. I put like over 200 hours into Returnal. I loved Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, and Ghost of Yotei, Rise of the Ronin. Watching this Phantom Blade Zero footage really increased my excitement for this game. The sheer APM, which is actions per minute required, looks insane. Even on this sort of like staged fight where you have to stay on the back of this stagecoach, just looks incredible. It's beautiful. It's like a violent dance of parrying, dodging, and striking. It heavily leans into the classic wuxia martial arts style where momentum is everything. You're not just trading blows, you're constantly repositioning, deflecting barrages of attacks, and closing the gap in the blink of an eye. If the controller response is as tight as the animations look, this is going to be incredibly satisfying to master. And that brings me to the second point. There is an unexpected cinematic quality to this game that I was not expecting to see. Usually when a game is this fast, the visual fidelity and the animation transitions can sort of start to take a hit. Even the cutscenes, I think, have a very heavy cinematic quality. Many times in a game like this, you'll get stiff resets between the combos, and it very much looks like, well, it's a video game and I can sort of tell. Well, I don't think that's happening here. The transition from standard gameplay into these brutal cinematic execution moves is absolutely seamless. Notice how the camera will dynamically shift during heavy strikes or perfect parries or even a little quick time thing like that, and then it goes right back into the action. It pulls in just enough to make you feel the impact, but never enough to obscure your spatial awareness. And the environments, there's this sort of bleak, rain-soaked architecture vibe, this oppressive lighting, sparks are flying off the steel. It doesn't just look like a standard character action game, it looks like a high-budget martial arts film. The level of polish on display in this 11-minute slice really surprised me. And that wasn't the only thing that surprised me. There is a focus on story here that I thought was unexpected in this game. The narrative in games like this often, narrative is just sort of an excuse to get you from one arena to the next. You know, here's your sword, go kill bad guys. Thanks for killing that bad guy. Other bad guy over here for you to kill now. But the developers are really emphasizing sort of the lore and the narrative weight here. You play as Soul, an elite assassin who's been given a 66-day death sentence. Every fight, every step forward is underscored by this ticking clock. The dialogue snippets, the interactions with NPCs, the world building, it's all pointing to a game that actually cares about its characters. And listen, that really adds weight to an action game for me. When I connect and I empathize with the main character's goals, it makes the fights and the victories all the more meaningful. And they announced that Donnie Yen is part of the game's cast, which makes it even more exciting. Finally, I do want to touch on the enemy and the boss design. When your combat is fast, oftentimes in games like this, it can be a bit overwhelming. The bosses are enormous. They take up entire portions of the screen. There can be elements of the fights that can be very frustrating, and oftentimes that's something that can be a huge turnoff. But in this game, I think they delivered. The elites and the bosses aren't just damage sponges. They're matching the player's speed step for step. There's a duel on a rooftop where the exchange of blows was so fast, I felt like I needed to slow it down to be like, wait, where are the parry windows, right? This game looks like you will be playing on a razor's edge, but it is not a Souls-like according to the developers. However, they also said it's not a traditional action game. They're hoping to even maybe create a new identity altogether. Maybe people will start saying it's a Phantom Blade-like. Given what we've seen, I think they actually might pull it off. Now, one final bit of exciting news. There is a state of play on Monday, August the 17th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. You heard that right. It's going to be very late in the day. This is a Chinese developer, so it's probably orchestrated around their time and not necessarily our time here in the United States. We get a little spoiled by a lot of the state of plays because PlayStation has a large U.S. audience. But I think this game is going to get a ton of sales and a ton of traction in the Chinese market. This is more efforts from Sony to grow in that market. And we will, I think, I'm going to check my schedule to see if I can cover that on Monday at basically 10 o'clock in the evening, my time. It's a little late for this old man, but maybe I can make it work for you guys, which means you want to make sure you're subscribed to my Reforged Gaming channel. We do have content in other places, various spots all over the internet. So if you see clips or reactions, you do want to make sure you're subscribed to Reforged Gaming. Now, I want to know what you think. Where did you land on this video? Many people have been saying up to now that the design of this game has been very different. They designed vertical slices, because one of the first couple times I saw footage of this, I thought, man, this thing looks ready to go, and that was a while ago, and it seemed as though, man, this thing's got to be right around the corner. Apparently, the development style for these types of studios is they like to do vertical slices to really push the game to its limits. And I really feel like that has benefited this game immensely. It looks like a game where the moment to moment is absolutely insane. Like you're in some action kung fu movie or something, and it doesn't feel like, video gamey game where like you're having to, measure all the distance between telegraphs and attacks. It seems like it'll be incredibly immersive while also being ridiculously fast and very cool and high action. So again, I want to know what you guys think. Where do you land on this? I wanted to get a little bit more footage here in the end of the video that they showed. This amazing sort of surrounding arena that's on fire, and more of that frenetic and fast combat where there are particle effects and there are like smoky blurring effects, but I don't feel like it's blurring the game itself, and I'm able to see what's going on, which is a huge plus from my perspective. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and always remember to stop by my live streams. But that's not the only thing to talk about today. Where a lot of first impressions are dropping, and this one kind of took me by surprise. The preview embargo just lifted on Star Wars Zero Company. Let me tell you, out of the gate, it's sounding very strong. If you've not been paying attention to this one, the elevator pitch is basically XCOM meets Star Wars, okay? The reason that comparison actually holds weight is the pedigree behind it. This is coming from Bit Reactor, a new studio that is stacked with former Firaxis developers, the same minds who redefined modern tactical games like XCOM and Marvel's Midnight Suns. Now, it drops on August 27th for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, and after reading through the hands-on previews, I may have to give this one a try. Listen, Expedition 33 got me to play a turn-based game. Maybe this game will get me to play an XCOM-style game, because I kind of love Star Wars, and this one looks like it's nailing. Let's just set the stage. We are operating in the Clone Wars era, but you can forget about the shiny Republic front lines and noble Jedi councils. We are in the dirt in this game. You're going to play as a character named Hawks. It's a former Republic officer who is currently sort of beneath this mountain of debt that he owes to the Hutts, all right? Hawks is a fully customizable character, by the way. You can change gender, appearance, voice, class. It's all up to you. I saw people saying they really were glad they were able to customize that character in a significant way. It's not just sort of like a predetermined character. To buy your way out of the debt, you get recruited by the Republic intelligence, and you're displaced, and you're having to sort of investigate some cult called the Infinite Coil. They're spreading this plague across the galaxy. Now, to do this, you lead Zero Company. That is a ragtag crew of mercenaries, and you've got clone troopers that have been discharged. You've got ex-convicts. So, a real charming group. Classic Star Wars, right? So, it turns out, however, that the gameplay is where lots of people are focusing, which is good, right? We want to see gameplay evolve and improve, okay? Now, I usually do not gravitate to XCOM adjacent or inspired games. I want an open world, I want action focused, or, give me a good Metroidvania. But Zero Company sounds to be bringing tight and deliberate design to turn-based tactics. It's a top-down, four-person squad game, not four-player, four-person squad game, and you have action points. You're managing cover, movement, flanking. But this is where things get a little different. The stakes are high. It features a lasting wound system and a permanent death for your generated squad mates. If you make a bad tactical call and your custom heavy gunner goes down due to, too many times too much damage, well, then they're gone for good. It forces you to actually care about your positioning. But it's not just about sitting behind cover. To capture sort of that heroic Star Wars feel, dealing damage builds up something called advantage. You spend this to unleash massive cinematic tide-turning combo moves that sweep the board. You're taking a sort of a highly customizable roster of mercs, and you're building your custom, droids and things like that, and then you're pairing them with story characters like Jedi Padawans and Mandalorians to pull off these crazy synergized attacks. So Star Wars fans will be very pleased to see a lot of these elements included. What's really surprising everyone in the previews is what happens outside of the combat. Between missions, you sort of kick back at your base of operations. It's called the Den, and it's located in the Ring of Kafrene, which is sort of a cool deep cut location from Rogue One. And the previews are heavily praising the production value here. We've got third-person exploration and cinematic character conversations that people are drawing comparisons to other RPGs like Mass Effect or Baldur's Gate 3. You've got to manage the clashing personalities of your crew, and it's got that classic Star Wars found family dynamic, and apparently people are saying that the writing is top tier. So what's the final verdict? Well, the critical consensus today from the previews is overwhelmingly positive. Everybody is calling it polished, mechanically deep. It's a perfect fusion of top tier developer talent and the Star Wars universe. Honestly, the biggest conversation happening in the community is just hoping that the game finds a massive mainstream audience that it deserves, because many people like me may be turned off to the XCOM style, okay? Bit Reactor's last project, Midnight Suns, struggled to find its footing commercially despite being attached to the Marvel IP. With the Star Wars IP attached, Zero Company looks like it maybe has a better chance. Now, I know what you guys think, these games don't do all that well. They're turn-based, or, Star Wars games tend to, be hit or miss, right? I want to know what you think. Are you jumping into Zero Company on August the 27th? More importantly, what kind of squad would you build? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, be sure to stop by one of my live streams. We have other news as well, and this one pertains to Hogwarts Legacy. We need to talk about the future of the wizarding world because things are getting incredibly interesting over at Avalanche Software. We finally have official confirmation from a recent Warner Brothers Discovery shareholder report. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is officially in the works. After the massive record-breaking success of the first game, a sequel was inevitable, but here's where the plot thickens. Avalanche Software's recent recruitment drive is giving us our very first clues about what they're building next, and it looks like they're preparing to cast a massive multiplayer spell. Avalanche is currently aggressively recruiting for a new online multiplayer RPG. There are job listings that specifically reference matchmaking, multiplayer infrastructure, lobbies, persistent player data. So, this begs the million-dollar question. Are these multiplayer features being built directly for Hogwarts Legacy 2? Or is Avalanche secretly developing a completely separate multiplayer game? Well, let's look at the actual features being teased here. The job listings point to, quote, repeatable open-world activities designed to scale from a few players to many. If this is for Hogwarts Legacy 2, we could be looking at a massive shift from how we experience this game. It will no longer be a single-player game, or at least it will no longer be limited to a single-player experience. Think about the types of multiplayer features that you could have if they did this in this universe. On the cooperative side, you could be at a party and 3 of your friends want to explore the Forbidden Forest. You want to hunt down dark wizards. You want to tackle multi-room dungeon vaults. Maybe there's coordinated spell casting that you have to use to solve puzzles or take down enemies or bosses. Then there's a competitive side they could do. I mean, you could have matchmaking, you could have lobbies, you could do PvP, because matchmaking and lobbies are mentioned in these job postings. We could see an official dueling club where you would test your wand combat against other players and have ranked arenas. And if it wasn't in the first game, doesn't mean they couldn't do it, right? Everybody kept asking about Quidditch. Maybe they could build multiplayer infrastructure that could actually bring that to light directly into the open world and into the game. It's the exact kind of social interactive magic fans were begging for in the original game. It really seemed like they were going to patch in co-op at some point. But here's where we have to read between the lines. Words like persistent player data and scalable open world activities are major buzzwords for live service and MMO genres. If Hogwarts Legacy 2 goes this route, what would that mean for the franchise? An MMO Lite or live service Hogwarts Legacy would likely feature, shared social hubs. You could walk into the Great Hall, you could walk to Hogsmeade, you could go to Diagon Alley and see dozens of other real players just sort of hanging out. Maybe they're trading, maybe they're showing off their latest gear. The repeatable open world activities could also mean dynamic public events, like maybe the troll attacks, maybe there's a massive magical beast that shows up, and then anybody in the server could just seamlessly fly over on their broom and join the fight. However, there is an elephant in the room. Warner Brothers has made no secret of their desire to lean into live service games, but injecting an MMO-style grind into Hogwarts Legacy is a massive risk. The first game sold over 40 million copies, largely because it was just a great handcrafted single-player experience. You could just sort of play it on your own, and there seems to be an increase in demand for those types of games, while there's a bit of a stigma about live service. If the sequel leans too heavily into daily quests, battle passes, live service monetization, they risk alienating the core fan base that wants to attend classes and unravel a great story. And that live service stigma is difficult to overcome without a very solid deliverable to do it. That brings us to a very plausible alternative. Warner Brothers has officially confirmed that Hogwarts Legacy 2 is coming, but they've not officially confirmed multiplayer for that specific game. It is possible that Avalanche is splitting their focus. They could be developing Hogwarts Legacy 2 as a single-player, narrative-heavy sequel that everybody sort of expects to continue what happened in the first game, and maybe a second team inside the studio is building up bandwidth to work on a separate standalone Wizarding World multiplayer game. A dedicated live service spin-off would allow Warner Brothers to chase that ongoing multiplayer revenue without compromising the integrity of their flagship single-player RPG. Maybe they're taking a page out of GTA's book. where you got a single-player game and then you got Hogwarts Legacy Online. But that, of course, would mean that they're splitting their focus and their bandwidth at the company, which I don't think is a great recipe for Hogwarts Legacy 2 to have depth and well-built systems, and it certainly would mean any kind of Hogwarts Online experience could also get a little shortchanged. You kind of want all hands on deck for a sequel like this. The game was so good, you got to make sure you at least match or outdo its depth and size. So where does that leave us? Hogwarts Legacy 2 is definitely happening. At the same time, a major multiplayer Wizarding World experience seems to be being built behind closed doors at Avalanche. Now, whether or not they're the same or two completely different projects, well, the future of the franchise, I actually think they're expanding into something that is more multiplayer focused. But I want to hear from you. Do you want Hogwarts Legacy to feature co-op or, just playing with a friend, or an MMO-style live service thing? Or should they just keep it strictly single player? Let me know what you think. Hit like, and be sure to stop by one of my live streams. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. Make sure that you guys are hitting the like button. Get us those first 100 likes, and then we can start working on the next 100 likes. And little housekeeping. The GTA 6 coverage will obviously continue. GTA Online is just not going to work for me. It doesn't fit the brand. The vibe of the game is certainly fun, and we still have our crew. You can join our crew. You can go into the Discord. That's still going to be a perk for members. There's people in there playing together right now, and they were building the crew even last night. But I am not going to be able to make that a mainstay on the channel like we were kind of hoping. It's a little too broad and a little too big, and the vibe was too big of a shift. So I know there were people that were kind of like, man, oh man, GTA seems like a very big shift for you. I thought we could make it work if we did the online instead of the campaign. Not really something that I felt was working. So I did drop it yesterday. I had fun with you guys. I did. It just felt like a huge brand misalignment. So apologies about that. But we're going to get back to what we do anyways, which is covering gaming news. And there's tons of it to cover. We have Phantom Blade Zero gameplay that looks incredible. We have a Hogwarts Legacy 2. Basically not even what I would consider to be a leak. I mean, it was officially confirmed in their earnings, as well as Star Wars Zero Company previews that sound very, very promising. You got to play the campaign on your own time before GTA 6. I have no desire to do that. I think I'm like you, my friend. I'm going to try Star Wars Zero Company, but I'm not usually into turn-based tactics games. I mean, that's a great way to get someone like me into your game. You know what I mean? You leverage Star Wars, you leverage fandom, you take something that I already like, and then you make a really good game. Like, I remember playing XCOM once a long time ago with you guys when I was streaming on Twitch. And I was like, this is actually kind of fun. I never went back to it, but I don't remember having a bad time. I remember playing one of the Mario Rabbids games with Madam and thinking it was okay. It didn't blow me away or anything. And I think we played it a couple of times and then never went back to it. So it would be irresponsible to not make another Hogwarts game. Well, the ultimate question about the Hogwarts game is, would they do something open like MMO? I mean, you hear these job postings for Avalanche, and it's like, well, what else are they working on? I mean, are they working on two projects? I don't know. I mean, I could see them doing Hogwarts Legacy 2 and then a Hogwarts Online, like GTA has done. But again, that would maybe, I guess I wouldn't question that, because they have the entire school. They have all those areas. They have all those places. They could certainly do it. Yes, I'm aware that there's a Phantom Blade Zero gameplay deep dive state of play Monday, August 17th. We are going to attempt to cover that. I'll have to look at my schedule. I think Monday evenings are usually pretty open for me. I don't do soccer on those days. I mean, I practice in the backyard with my boy, but co-op for Hogwarts Legacy 2 would be really cool. I was always hoping that they were going to add co-op to Hogwarts Legacy, the first one. I was always hoping they were going to do that. There were even lines. It seemed like they were ready for two people to be playing together. One of the Flu Flames was like, "What are you two doing?" And it was like, did they? And there was nobody with me the one time she said it. I think it was like glitched. Why Switch so bad and stuttering for me? I don't know. I don't have any issues on my end, and nobody else on Twitch is complaining. Kingdom Hearts event on the 15th also. Oh yeah, there's like a round table for Kingdom Hearts, I believe, and that is going to be on YouTube. I don't know if they're gonna stop people from co-streaming it. Disney can get a little funny. Phantom Blade Zero extended look, so good they could have locked it behind Netflix. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is going to do that. I think GTA has particular goals with that in mind, right? Is Phantom Blade Zero just what the doctor ordered? Listen, Drumman, you guys know me. I like fast, frenetic games as long as it's not a Souls. I'm kind of burned out on Souls. I played Dark Souls 3, then Sekiro, then I played Elden Ring, then I had to do a review for Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. I've lost my flavor for them. I really liked First Berserker Kazan because I could lower the difficulty. It still required very good parry, timing, dodging, and awareness. You were not going to button mash your way through the game. Phantom Blade Zero looks right up my alley. Like, right up my alley. I forgot to thank Risic. Han shot first, and so did you. First gifted of the day, 85. It is Wednesday. If we want to be on pace for goal, we're going to need to get quite a bit more. Make sure you guys are celebrating your renewals. And if you want to gift and let more people in, we do have chat set to members only. Trying to communicate to people that there are perks of being a member since we don't do morning coffee in Green Room anymore. It was very unhelpful. YouTube made some changes. And so now that is a direct benefit that sometimes the chat will be reserved for you guys. Phantom Blade is exactly what I want to play right now. Good, fast-paced, linear action game. Lono, just curious. Phantom Blade looks faster than Wolong and Ninja Gaiden. This looks faster even. Well, here's the thing. It looks fast, but it looks fair. I'm not creating like a false dichotomy there. Like, I'm not saying like Wolong isn't fair. Wolong just felt like I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong or right. I couldn't figure out why sometimes the parry worked and sometimes the parry didn't. I just assumed it was because I was old and slow. I was like, I think I'm just old and slow. Now, there were people that were critical of Wolong and said it wasn't that great. I don't know if it had anything to do with that. I don't know. But I don't necessarily look at Phantom Blade and see like that fast sort of Souls adjacent kind of game. It does look fast and action oriented, but it looks like it's very fair. It looks like the parry window is very usable, if that makes sense. Lono, do you think we see something for Hogwarts this year at the Game Awards? I feel like enough time has passed. Yeah, I mean, the Game Awards would certainly be a good time to do it. When was the release date officially? 2023? Yeah, and that was a delay. February of 2023. So you got to think, I mean, that was basically like a late 2022 game, if you think about it. Originally, that's what it was supposed to be. So this year, Game Awards is almost 4 years since the release. You know what I mean? So, fair enough. Looking forward to the state of play. I could be wrong, Vithar. I also think Phantom Blade Zero is going to feature difficulty settings. I don't think Wolong did that. I don't think Neo 3 does that. I don't think they do that with their games, typically. What's good, True SSJ Havoc? How are you? I know it's me. I don't know why. Every time I use it, it has stuttering and pauses frequently. I'd rather use YouTube, but members chat only has me over here. Gave my Amazon monthly sub. I appreciate that. You could always try and reinstall the app. Sometimes I feel like apps like that start acting up and they just need to be reinstalled. Once you understand Wolong, it was very easy. The bosses only had a close attack or a leap, so if you stayed mid-range, it's screwed with the bosses. I just remember playing the demo and being like, this is too fast for me. I'm just old man status now. And then I also remember playing the demo for Neo 3, and I remember thinking, this is awesome. Like, I literally thought, this is awesome. I'm never going to be able to play this. Because all the previews, all the reviews were talking about how insanely long the game was. And I'm like, I just don't have the temperament or the endurance for a game like this now. I would enjoy it for 20 hours. I'm not going to enjoy a 50-hour game with that kind of combat. I'm just not going to. Didn't they spend 2023 working on the Switch version? I don't know if was that them. I thought somebody else worked on I thought somebody else came in to help with the Hogwarts Switch port. You could be right. Maybe they haven't gotten started, as early as we would hope on Hogwarts Legacy 2. Superfly, using your Prime. Thank you for 15 months and supporting me on on the Twitch platform. We appreciate that very, very much. Hot take, Neo 3 is better than Elden Ring. Well, there you go. That is certainly a take. I noticed less comments regarding physical discs on the Zero Blade PlayStation channel. I mean, that anger is subsiding. I think a lot of the people that were doing it were probably just doing it because it's fun, to brigade and yell. The Twitter posts are getting way less. I told people that would burn out. I mean, I understand people are upset, but you can't stay perpetually angry about the same thing every single day in, day out. I mean, I just don't think it was going to last. A lot of people were excited to see Donnie Yen. Yeah, Donnie Yen's inclusion with Phantom Blade Zero is very exciting. That means they got a little bit of money. They got some money behind this game. You know what I'm saying? Snagging Donnie Yen. You know why that's also exciting? That's going to give the game some cultural clout. It's going to give the game some cultural clout. People are going to be like, yo, I got to play that game, dude. I like my man Donnie Yen. He's pretty dope. So, and he's kind of had a moment, getting to be in a Star Wars movie is one thing, but then, the John Wick thing, I mean, I think people are going to just continue. And I know he's in plenty of other films, but I just think, like, globally, people are way more familiar with him now than maybe they were 5 years ago. And that's great. I mean, that's going to give some cultural clout to the game. Great reveal for sure, and choreography. Single Gifted comes in from Narwaffle and bumps a line to 87. Thank you so much, Narwaffle, for doing that and giving somebody the ability. If you guys want to talk in the chat, you got to be a member. Consider clicking join. Wing Chun combos to your face. Can't wait for his Kane movies. Yeah, they're doing a spinoff, right? Donnie Yen. You may recognize him as he's the blind guy in Rogue One. He's the blind guy in the one John Wick movie. He's been in a ton of other movies. Like, he's basically a martial arts star, but globally, I think people have become more familiar with him because of the Star Wars movie and because of John Wick. So this is not his first rodeo as being, known for his martial arts capabilities and being in movies. Like this, he's been around for a while. He's IP Man. Yeah, IP Man. Lona, did you see the former boss fight they dropped for Phantom Blade Zero a while back? I mean, I've seen basically all of the footage up to now of the game and have continued to feel like it looks really, really good. I'm not sure which one in particular. There's a boss fight on the rooftops that I've seen. There was a boss fight with a bunch of people on strings that I've seen. There was a boss fight like down in like I forget what it looked like. It was like a war-torn area where you were like surrounded by buildings, like down sort of in the midst of the buildings. It does look like they're pretty intentional about the environments. With respect to, like, they don't want it to be too clustered. Here, I need to put my Phantom Blade Zero reaction. What else are we talking about? Hogwarts Legacy 2, Star Wars Zero Company previews. There we go. We've got another channel that we take some of those short videos and we throw them on, and I'm just making those available to Creature if he wants any of them right now. Phantom Blade Zero doesn't have a disc. It's a digital-only release. Buy or no. Yeah, it's a digital-only release, which I'm sure will raise, consternation and anger from people. But the thing they need to remember is it's also releasing on PC, and it will probably get most of its sales from the Chinese audience on PC. Social Destruct with a $5 super chat. A Phantom Blade demo store page was up but got taken down. I expect a demo at the State of Play. Previews were up for Star Wars Galactic. Consensus is do not overlook. Yo, Wired Rope drops a 10 bomb, and oops, I just completely messed that up. Hang on, we're supposed to be at 97. What the heck did I just do? Let's just do this. We're gonna go 50, 20, 20. There we go. There we go. Let me just reset. We're at 97. I hit the wrong button. My bad. We are at 97. We still don't have the first 100 of the week. Thank you so much, Wired Rope, for the 10 bomb. I agree they should have a demo. Wait, is somebody saying Star Wars Galactic Racer previews are dropping? Galactic, or are you talking about the other thing that we just had? The Star Wars Zero Company. $5 super chat from Craig Harris. Not impressed with Phantom Blade. I'd rather have Stellar or Hellblade for battle. I think Phantom Blade looks spectacular. I mean, it's obviously not going to wow everybody. Just so you all know, Social Destruct and Craig Harris, you guys can chat without super chats. Like the $5 you spend on a super chat would get you an entire month of memberships. So it's $5 either way. So you don't need to feel like, I don't want you to feel like you got a super chat all day just to talk. That's going to be costing you way more than the $5. So it's actually going to be cheaper for you to do a membership. I mean, I know I get less money from that, but I'm just letting you know. You guys, I know when we do a members only chat, I don't want somebody feeling like they got to keep super chatting all day. Our focus right now is trying to get the memberships to grow, which is why I'm offering a members only chat periodically. I'm not seeing anything for Star Wars Galactic Racer previews, so I'm not sure what you mean by that. Previews were up for Star Wars Galactic. I'm not seeing that. So, PlayStation isn't doing a disc print. No, I mean, again, I don't know how that's negotiated with the company like that, but the company, that's making Phantom Blade Zero and then PlayStation's not even publishing, I don't think. I think, Harbinger, thank you so much for the gifted and gets us to 98. Phantom Blade Zero Steam. Is PlayStation, I think PlayStation just secured the exclusivity for console for a year. Yeah, S-Game is publishing it, so take it up with them. That it has nothing to, that's not even PlayStation's decision. So S-Game is the developer and S-Game Publishing is publishing it. The decision to not do a disc is the publishing company's decision. It has nothing to do with PlayStation. So the developer and the publisher make that decision together, and the cost of doing it. And doing a Chinese developer PC PlayStation launch simultaneous, they're probably most of us are going to get they're going to get most of their sales from digital only PC users, more than likely. Black Myth Wukong was digital only. Yeah, I don't think people. What's interesting is I think people are waking up to the reality, which is something that I continue to try to say for the last 3 weeks, was that there's an ocean of digital-only games that launch all of the time, and no one batted an eye at that. So, the lack of digital ownership has always been the problem, and it still is the current problem. I don't know if you're going to boycott every indie game, every AA game, every small studio game, or are you going to boycott, Phantom Blade Zero? Are you going to boycott games that are no, it's in our interest to not do the disc? So, a Chinese company is going to look at their market, primarily being a PC market, and go, why on earth would we spend money printing discs? We're going to be digital. 70% of their sales will likely be PC, Chinese PC consumers would be my guess. And a 5 bomb comes in from Sal and secures the 103. Thank you so much, Sal, for doing that, getting more people able to talk in the chat. We are running a members only chat on YouTube today. If you want to be a part of what we're doing, click join. It's $5 and you can become a part of the chat and our Discord. It boils down to Sony bad, that's all. Yeah, I mean, whatever, Thoughts on PlayStation giving a digital code with Wolverine PS5s? I'm not sure what you mean. If you buy are you saying if you buy the combo unit or whatever, you're going to get a digital code? A lot of, I think a lot of the combo units over the years have done that, have they not? You open it up and there's a code inside. You don't have the count to 10. Didn't someone give 10 on here? Yeah, I had to reset it because I clicked the wrong button. So the counts are going to be wrong all day. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can can I add 10 and then take away 10? Can I do that? There we go. So yeah, okay, there we go. You guys now have 10. Let's see. YouTube should have 6, 7, 8. YouTube should have 8, but then I need to take away 2 because those 2 are just fake. We're just fixing the total. And then you guys over there actually you guys should have 11 on Twitch. There we go. It's 11 to 8. I fixed it. I remember when they boycotted 8-tracks going to Memorex tapes. No physical sucks for Phantom Blade, but I still got to get that game. The combat looks wild. Yeah, I mean, I think people that have been talking about the whole physical versus digital thing, and it's like, listen, I being upset, being frustrated, that's completely legitimate. You're losing choice, but I don't think people are educated on what exactly has been going on for the last 5 to 10 years, especially with respect to PC's been digital only for how long, and the overwhelming majority of games that come out, they come out and they're digital only. Pan Gamer, you got bopped because Nightbot thought you tried to post a link. Are you interested in Phantom Blade Zero? It looks awesome. I am interested in Phantom Blade Zero. I've been interested in Phantom Blade Zero for a while. I posted gameplay footage on Twitter a while ago. Like, I forget what date this was. I retweeted this morning to kind of remind everybody. As early as August of 2024, I was kind of on this game's radar. I was like, yo, this game looks sick. So I posted this new gameplay, and you'll notice there, it got 1 million views on Twitter. I think that's one of my most viewed videos on Twitter ever. And it was just me being like, yo, this gameplay is crazy. The blocking and the parrying in this game looks nuts. And so I've been paying attention to this game for a while. So that was 2 years ago, almost to the day. I'm not missing out on Phantom Blade. Even companies are saying most are digital and no physical won't affect them. Yeah, I mean, Capcom just released some sales numbers. Yeah. It's not... it's not a debate. It's a dead horse that people just realized was dead. So like everybody's taking their turn beating the dead horse. And it's like, okay, this is where we are. This is where things have arrived, and you don't have to like it, but it's just how things are now. Social Destruct, thanks for jumping back in as a member. Let me add 1 to the total. The first trailer was wild with the combat sequences. In general, I would say a lot of the times when we see those combat sequences and we see trailers and we see different things, like a lot of the times I feel like it's very easy to make something look crazy and fast and awesome, and then everybody kind of loses their minds. What really drew my attention to this game was he was up on like a ledge, it almost looked kind of like a bridge, but like a wooden ledge, and he mid animation stopped to block something. I feel like he was jumping or somebody jumped at him, and I remember instantly noticing it, being like, wait a minute, that was an animation cancel block, which I am a huge proponent of animation cancel, and one of the reasons I'm a huge proponent of animation cancel, and there's different schools of thought here. Destruction gifts a member and gets us to 105. We're 20 away from the next milestone. I don't even know who got us to the 100. I know who got us to the 100. YouTube, you got us to the 100. So I do owe YouTube a member. But it could be the first 20 bomb of the week. And we need it. So let's see if we can't get that goal a little bit higher today. I'm going to pay up what I owe. Here's the one that I owe to the community. Thank you, Mr. Lazaro. I'm a physical copy dude, but I'm also not about fighting losing battles. Well, and the other thing is like I told people, I was like, there are tons of games where you can't get physical, and it has nothing to do with being anti-consumer, the new favorite buzzword people like to use. That's a misnomer and it makes no sense, but people like to say it. It's like, I guess you've been boycotting all the AA and indie titles that have been digital only for the last how many years? I guess you don't have a single game in your Steam library, and it's like, these are not realistic expectations for gamers. These people are straining at probably the smallest percentage of game launches in a given year. The ones that are available physical everywhere. It's like a very small percentage when compared against all the other game launches that happen every day and week. So, yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is going to be digital only. I don't know what all these other games are going to start deciding to do between now and 2028. We'd be diving into Mortal Shell 2. I have been avoiding the demo because I'm worried I'm going to end up liking it, and it's going to end up feeling like Neo 3, where like it's a game that I can't really play. And Royal Duck gifts a member and bumps the line by 1. Thank you so much for doing that, Royal Duck. I just don't have the temperament for those kinds of games, and I know a game like Mortal Shell 2, I'll have a breaking point. I'll get a third of the way through it or halfway through it, and I'll be like, I'm done, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just avoiding those games. I don't have a palate or a temperament for Souls adjacent games. If it's an action focused game and I can enjoy it and I can play through and have a good time, if I can even turn the difficulty down, like that's just kind of where I am. I'm playing games for me, not for weird gamer clout or cred. So it's like if it's a harder game, if it's one of those hyper punishing games, I'm like, yeah, dude, it's just not my jam right now. I can't deal with the tedious games anymore. I mean, you'd have to expound on what you mean. Lona, are you going to be getting the Wolverine controllers or face plates? No, I will not be doing that. We are, I'm just having to tighten up right now. I know a lot of people are having to tighten up. I'm not purchasing stuff like that right now. Like, I'm only buying games for the channel that I feel like we're going to do something with, and I'm probably going to be sticking to standard editions. I'm trying to completely curb down spend right now. Things just aren't great, so it's like I can't be indulgent like that. They look dope. They do. They look dope, but I'll be foregoing. I won't be buying. Even if it's only one more gen, I want Xbox to double down on physical just so they can remake that "This is how you share games" PlayStation commercial. I mean, I obviously like a good PR fight between companies, but until anything actually happens, I don't really care what that company says. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all fake and phony. They're the most fake and phony company out there. It's just not enjoyable to even be like, oh, well, they might do this or they might do this, and it's like they literally are professional smoke screen makers. That's all they are at this point. There's no action. There's no anything that's going to happen anytime soon from them. It's all talk right now. That was a heck of a trailer. I just watched it. It's really good. Phantom Blade Zero looks very good. Lono, I played the demo of Mortal Shell 2, and I will ultimately skip and pass on it. I don't have the patience for those types of games. Yeah, I don't have the temperament for it. I just get annoyed, and I feel very unsatisfied and frustrated. And a Terminal Stupidity 10 bomb comes in to 116. Thank you, Terminal Stupidity. I appreciate that. Pulling more people into the chat. So yeah, my temperament and my palate, those games just don't call to me. They never really did. I mean, I gave it a go. I did Dark Souls 3. I did Sekiro. I ended up loving Sekiro. And then I did like 130 hours in Elden Ring. And then I got to the swamp monster in Lies of P, and I was like, this is just not my jam. I even went back and lowered the difficulty in Lies of P, and I beat the swamp monster. But the flow of the game and the environments and the enemies and all of that, I just don't like it. I don't like the vibe that those games bring. I get why people like them, but I feel like I'm wearing somebody else's shoes and they don't fit. It's just I don't feel comfortable or good. I just feel annoyed. Kaiser with 54 months gets us to 117. Phantom Blade is right up there with Wolverine for me now. Yeah, Phantom Blade was on my radar. I thought it looked very good. I was excited for it, but I really wanted to see more because we kept seeing couple minute snippets of crazy fights, and that trailer really, really made it climb my anticipated list. Phantom Blade Zero was already on the list, but it's up there now hanging out with Control Resonance and Wolverine and Onimusha. Will you try Silent Hill Townfall? I don't think so. Survival horror is another genre that doesn't speak to my brain. Like, I'm excited for Onimusha and Wolverine, and Control Resonant is shaping up and sounding to be amazing. And then Phantom Blade Zero just climbed my list. Like, Star Wars Galactic Racer's on my list. Castlevania Belmont's Curse is on the list. Games outside of my frame are just not going to sneak onto the list because, like, I would be more likely to play Star Wars Zero Company and probably enjoy that more than I would like Silent Hill Townfall or Mortal Shell. Those games are not for me. They're not my vibe. Yeah, Plague Tale Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy is another game I'm looking forward to. They recently released some gameplay, some combat footage that I thought looked really, really cool. Single player mode, Galactic Racing Impressions were put up yesterday. Lono, that's what I meant. It looks absolutely fantastic on the PS5. Star Wars Galactic Racer just has a vibe. It's got this gritty, old school vibe. It's also very Star Wars. That's obviously going to win nostalgic points for me. But then the fact that it's a rogue makes me really curious. Like, oh, could I get into a racer if it was more within the realm of a rogue? Because racers are, by their nature repetitive. Could you add value to that repetition with rogue mechanics? And we got a new coffee order. 4 bags of light roast for Predator. If you guys are unaware, that's another great way to support what I do, is to snag a bag of coffee. They're the lowest they've ever been on price. They're like $10 a bag. They're like $15 or $16 dollar bags of coffee, and we're trying to work through that inventory. So if you're a coffee drinker, that's a very, very low price if you consider where everything is right now price wise, and it supports me and the family. PlayStation just dropped Ghost of Yote news. I'm sorry, what did you say? Ghost of Yote news. Ghost of Yote Complete Edition. There's a story expansion coming. What the frick? Ghost of Yote Complete Edition launches October the 1st. Echoes of Sekigahara story expansion. Most wanted survival mode. New trophies, weapons, and armor. More details here. Ghost of Yote Complete. Look at that. They made it look like the director's cut that Tsushima. That they went with the same. They went with the same art style. New narrative expansion, new combat survival mode, and much more. We're excited to announce. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see here. So we've got some breaking news here. Ghost of Yote Complete Edition comes to PlayStation 5 on October the 1st. You can see here director's cuts vibes from Ghost of Tsushima. I love this color palette that they do. It's going to have a new narrative expansion, new combat survival mode, and much more. Here's what they say. We're so excited to announce that even more new content is coming to Ghost of Yote on October the 1st. We will have a new narrative expansion, new single-player combat survival mode, and new quality of life updates, all coming to Ghost of Yote Complete Edition. And here is the trailer for it. It's a 2-minute long trailer. I tell you what we can do. Let's just switch to this view, and then I want to be able to actually hear this. So we will we'll shift here to let's see. I'm not going to be able to hear it because I don't have my settings right. I guess I'll stop the recording. I was going to try and record this, but Windows is a piece of trash and always changes my settings. So thanks for that, YouTube. Freaking stupid speakers. Wait, why is my audio input device for PC not... Windows did an update. There we go. Okay. Includes a new co-op mode. Oh, that includes Legends. Hang on, I need to pause. Alright.
I assumed you exaggerated its beauty. I was so wrong.
My mother told me stories. This isn't like ruthless spirits who wander.
Stupid.
My mother told me stories. Vonduo, ruthless spirits who wander the land, seeking vengeance. The night my family was massacred, I became such a spirit.
I swore to my father that I'd kill him.
So Legends was kind of a dud for me. I actually thought the missions were really fun, but I thought the welcome back, Del and Frank. I appreciate that. That's probably Delon, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry for everything that I am right now. Anyway, yeah, the Legends was fun with the missions, but the bosses were not very good.
All your stories about Ezzo, I assumed you exaggerated its beauty. I was so wrong.
This isn't like old times, Nagato. One wrong move.
I'm well aware of what happens to people who cross you. We win this, I will be someone. A true samurai. Ready? Charge!
All that matters is the man in front of you.
Wait, so is this survival mode almost like a rogue mode where like you'll start over if you die or whatever? That sounds really cool. I'm gonna be real with y'all. This sounds great. I relive the past. Some people complained about that with respect to the story. Like, we didn't really get enough of like what led her to that moment of like being like a warrior or whatever. So let's keep reading. Before we dive in, we want to take a moment and thank everyone for the incredible year since Yote launched. We're proud of the incredible community, the fan art, cosplays, photographs, Twitch streams, Jubei thirst posts. We promise we've seen it all. Yote Complete Edition will launch just in time for our 1 year anniversary. We can't wait, okay? In the coming weeks, we'll have much more to share, but we wanted to give you early looks. Okay, so Echoes of Sekigahara. It's our new narrative expansion. It's split between the present day and flashbacks to Atsu's time in the mainland. You'll meet Nagato, a figure of Atsu's past who arrived in Etzo, or Itzo. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Is it Etzo or Izo? Izo, I think. Yeah, it's Izo. In the present, you'll explore a previously unseen valley once inhabited by the Snake and his gang of loyal followers, the Vipers. In the past, you'll experience Atsu's time in the Battle of Sekigahara and a key moment in her life before she returned home for her quest for vengeance. You'll meet new enemies and find new heavy weapons, new armor sets, new dyes, and more. Most Wanted. Okay, it's a brand new single-player combat survival mode, our spin on a roguelike. I was wondering if it was going to be like a rogue. You'll accept bounties in order to start new runs. We're taking down enemies. Taking down enemies will earn you perks, as well as unlock additional characters to play as. We'll have much more to show soon, but as you can see in the trailer today, Atsu's a master of the dual katana, while Oyuki excels in the Kusarigama, and Nagato shines with the Yari. We love to watch the amazing combat reels that you have shared with us on social media, and we can't wait to see you all try to perfect these runs. I absolutely love this. Because I told you guys, after they did that with Valhalla, with God of War, I was like, I hope more games do this. Like, what they did in Returnal with the Tower of Sisyphus, and then what they did with Valhalla, I was like, it's a great way to really showcase, like, not just the combat, but, like, it can put you in situations where you might have to play quite a bit differently than you're used to. Like, everybody kind of gets to the end of the game and, like, has their way of playing. And a rogue mode like that can really sort of push you sort of outside of your comfort zone a little bit. And so I love the idea of Yote's combat in a rogue. Like, that sounds really, really good. If you haven't experienced the journey yet, you can purchase the complete edition for $70. So this is a really good deal that you're going to get the game the Legends update, the survival mode, and the new DLC for basically the price of the game that it was at launch. So you're basically getting a brand new game with everything included. In addition to Echoes of Sekigahara and Most Wanted, this includes award-winning main Ghosts of Yotei game as well as Legends, our online co-op experience with support of up to 4 players. If you purchase a complete edition, you can immediately start playing the main game and Legends and Echoes and Most Wanted on October the 1st. It also includes all the in-game content previously included in the Ghosts of Yotei Digital Deluxe Edition, as well as the charm of Hokyokusei. I can't pronounce that one. Hokyokusei. If you purchase by September 30th, you'll also get early unlock of the Sakai armor on October the 1st for Atsu to wear. Yes, we want to see that Sakai armor from Jin Sakai's father's clan. If you already own Yotei, you can get Echoes of Sekigahara and Most Wanted by purchasing the Ghost of Yotei Complete Edition upgrade for $15. I think that's a fantastic price for a DLC in a rogue mode. Like, I think that is a fantastic price. It's not 10, that would be a little low, and it's not 20. Like, being less than 20 is actually pretty good. If you don't already own the Digital Deluxe Edition, the Charm Hokyokusei, you'll immediately unlock the content upon pre-ordering. If you pre-order by September 30th on October 1st, you'll get the early unlock of the Sakai armor. Can I see the Sakai armor on Atsu? I really loved this game. It was such a good game. I put like somewhere between 60 and 70 hours into it. Beyond the new content listed above, Ghosts of Yotei Complete Edition includes new tracks for Watanabe mode that will be available throughout the entire game when the mode's enabled. There's also new photo mode stamps, additional cosmetics for New Game Plus, and new trophies for both Echoes and Most Wanted. For anyone who owns Ghosts of Yotei without purchasing the upgrade, a new patch on October the 1st will add a new Beauty of Yotei mode, which allows for a screensaver-like view of the environments of Izo to keep on and relax at home and take stunning photo mode captures. There will also be new quality of life features, including the option to keep an armor set's appearance while using a different set's stats. There will be a new quality of life feature, including the option to keep an armor set's appearance while using a different set stats. Are you gonna put that in Tsushima? I wanted transmog in Tsushima for so long. Some of the best armor sets had the worst perks. They were the worst perks. It was like, get more flowers while exploring. And it's like, well, I don't want that. I want to look cool. And I'm trying to transmog to mog out here, as well as a new high contrast accessibility option. Thank you again, everyone, for your amazing year since Ghosts of Yotei launch. We'll have more to share about Most Wanted and Echoes of Sekigahara, as well as closer to launch on October the 1st. Awesome. I'm pumped. The armor's on the top right of those images. Yeah, I can't really see it though, brother. I mean, I can't really see that. Open image in a new tab. Let me scroll over. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. There's the Sakai armor for her. It's good looking. It's good looking stuff. All right, make sure you guys are hitting the like button if you're enjoying today's show. Get us to the 200 likes. If you want to talk in the chat, you got to be a member, so consider clicking that $5 join button and become hot. I'm just going to quote tweet it and say hot. That's exciting. October the 1st, in a year that's already stuffed to the dadgum rafters, in a year that is absolutely stuffed to the dadgum rafters, we got another thing coming. Did we talk about the Phantom Blade trailer yet? Yeah, I opened the show. I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It actually climbed on my It actually climbed on my most anticipated list. It really, really did. Troll late. Yeah, I mean we come on, we know why he's late, so we can accommodate. I accommodate all walks of life here. You know what I'm saying? So, BPT, I'm willing to give you a little bit of a recap. If you're on that time. That's fine. It's up there. It's up there now for me. It's up there with Control, Onimusha, and Wolverine. So my top 5 anticipateds are now like Control, Onimusha, Wolverine, Castlevania Belmont's Curse, and Phantom Blade Zero. I mean, that's 5 games in the span of like 2 months that are all coming out. You know what I mean? Lono essentially operates. Listen, I'm not trying to appropriate culture, but I do kind of operate on that time anyway. So, again, I'm not trying to do cultural appropriation by being late every day. But I feel y'all on it. That's all I'm saying. How could Sony do this? How could Sony do this? Like, how could Sony just keep dropping more and more content? There's a Gears of War E-Day controller that looks ridiculously hot. Gears of War E-Day limited edition controller, claim yours. That is, okay, I like the other one better. Available with Xbox Design Lab. I'm not a fan of this one as much. That one's nice. I'm not going to say this isn't nice, but this one's ridiculously cool. That is... I don't need another controller. I'm trimming down the spending. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's what I'm doing. Let's see here. Ghost of Yo-Tay is getting a story, expansion, a rogue mode, and transmog. You know what I'm saying? Dude? It's getting transmog. That's almost as good. That's almost as good as the other things. The dadgum transmog. It always killed me in Tsushima. Like, they had really amazing armor sets. And you'd be like, man, I'd love to look like this, but then the perks would be stupid. Yo, what's good, feed? Gonna check out Helldivers update in a bit. Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to it. Helldivers kind of fell out of my radar. I'm glad people are still enjoying it. It's still a solid game, just not something I'm paying much attention to. You're playing Saros and it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if Saros is going to do... I think they're going to take us to the Blue Precipice, and I think it's going to be like a Tower of Sisyphus. That's one location that they mention consistently in Saros that we never go to. I think the Blue Precipice, if they ever do content for Saros, that's what it'll be. I think that's my theory. I'm glad I held off on buying Yo-Tay. Yeah, you can buy it for $70 and you'll get the game, you'll get the DLC, you'll get the Rogue mode, you'll get Legends, you'll get Transmog. Like, come on. They updated the Gears beta Lono. They had a short period yesterday where the beta was up and the FPS issues were squashed. Visuals got updated also. Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good. My main issue was it was a little laggy. I didn't know if it was frames or lag, but that was my main issue. When I was playing Horde, it got especially stuttery at times. Sucker Punch must have seen one of your rants about it. I hope they bring Transmog to Tsushima. I don't know if that'll be an easy thing to do, but I would love to see them do that. We're 14 likes away from 200 likes, guys. Do me a favor and get us there. I appreciate the strong turnout today. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Let's sort of take a peek and see why folks are coming in today and make sure that we're answering and, covering the things that people are looking for. We always want to check in on that. Didn't Housemark say that they will be supporting Saros with content? They never directly spoke to it, no. Let's see here. We are getting Phantom Blade Zero reaction and Phantom Blade Zero recommendations. So if you're looking for my reaction and my thoughts on Phantom Blade Zero, I'll give you my summary. Number one, I think the gameplay looks frenetic and awesome, but it looks fair. It looks like the parries and the dodges are very usable. It doesn't look like it's going to be insanely punishing, as some games like that can be. It's not going to be easy by any stretch, but it looks like it's going to be very fair. Also, I was surprised by the cinematic quality of the trailer. I thought it looked way more cinematic than I expected, and that's sort of tied to another thing that I didn't expect. Very story-focused. A lot of characters, a lot of narrative. Didn't expect that, and I think that's important in an action game. I think the more I empathize and the more I connect with the main character, the more I care about what they're doing. So, Yeah, I think more and more the action game genre that I like so much, I think more and more I am going to be gravitating to ones with really good stories. So whether, it's Onimusha, Yotei, or Phantom Blade. So I was kind of surprised. The last thing I was kind of surprised by was Donnie Yen. That was a surprise. That was a very pleasant surprise. And then the State of Play next week. So there's a lot going on with Phantom Blade Zero. Did I miss the coverage of the Ghost of Yotei DLC? Yeah, I read through the blog. I've tweeted about it. It's going to be a story expansion. It's going to be a rogue mode. It's going to be transmog. And it comes October the 1st. You can pre-order and get the Sakai armor, and you can get all of it for the price of the full game. $70 will get you all of it if you don't own the game yet. For those of us that already own the game, it's a $15 upgrade. Very, very fair. I think a very good price for something like that. For those in chat that played the Tsushima DLC, was it worthwhile? Trying to gauge my expectations for this. I thought the Ikishima DLC was excellent. I thought it resolved major story beats. I also think it was incredibly telling that people wanted more Jin Sakai and they got all ragey about Atsu. They just betrayed the fact that they either didn't play the first game or they didn't play the DLC, because it was very clear his story was over. State of Play next week. Yes, there is a Phantom Blade Zero State of Play next week. It will be late in the day for us in the U.S., especially Eastern time zone folks like myself. It will be at 10 p.m. Eastern. I believe I'm going to attempt to cover it. We could even do an evening waiting room stream that day. We like to do those waiting rooms. I don't think I'm going to do a waiting room all day. I don't think I'm going to do like a 12-hour waiting room stream. But we could do a waiting room that day. I know you guys really like those. I really like those. We meet lots of new people, and then we can watch the events together. The Tsushima DLC was good, but also harder than the base game. It was pretty tough. I made sure to do all of the where you like practice with the wooden swords in the one base. I fought every single person there before doing the DLC, and I felt like it helped. Like I felt like it kind of got me back in the swing. One of the reasons it might have felt harder is you went back to it and you weren't kind of like in a flow state with the game, after taking a break. And so I felt that really helped. I had a feeling Game of the Year is going to be a difficult decision. There are going to be snubs this year. I think there are going to be games that we feel like deserved a Game of the Year nomination that didn't get it. I think this will be a year where more people say that than in years past. I think you're just going to have a constant barrage of people saying such and such game was snubbed, such and such game was snubbed. There's too many games. There's just too many. Six is not enough. Some of the positions are already claimed. They're already claimed. I mean, I think RE9 and Pragmata have snagged some. Control Resonant can certainly snag one. But then you have games like Onimusha, Phantom Blade Zero could sneak in there. Then you have games like, smaller games, Mina the Hollower. The Slay the Spire 2 and Eugenics. Like, you've got smaller games that could sneak up there in the top 6. GTA 6 is obviously a monster on the calendar. I don't know if Wolverine could get up there, but Wolverine's got chops. Saros has got chops. Saros has a very good score. There's probably already 8 games right now fighting for position within the 6, and they're all going to get bumped. Like, a lot of them are going to get bumped by other games. These are games that are already out. So, GTA is going to sweep, let's not pretend. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we just don't know. We just don't know if it's going to sweep. It very likely could, but it's a tough year. It's a tough year. It's not a cakewalk, that's for sure. That's for sure. Saros was good, but I don't think enough people played. That has no bearing on how the Game of the Year nominations take place. Neo 3 scored higher than Pragmata. I forgot about Neo 3. Yeah, Neo 3 is another game that could definitely get up there on the podium. There's so many that you forget games. It's impossible to remember them all. Like there will be people that think their game was snubbed because there are so many top shelf games this year. There will be people that feel that way. They're going to feel mad that, if Pragmata gets snubbed, if Neo 3 gets snubbed, if Control doesn't make it. Like, there will be people that are like, my game didn't get up there, and they're going to be ticked. I think that's a good thing. When there's that many games and there's that many people that are that excited and that satisfied, I would say we've won as gamers. who cares who goes home with the trophy at that point? I mean, Jiminy Christmas. What a year. So, thank you guys for 200 likes. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going members only. I may just do that permanently, just as a good vibe check, but also just a good incentive to become a member and reward those that are members. So that is something we're running today on YouTube. We'll probably do the same thing on Purple, honestly. Wolverine should be nominated, even if it's just because all that crap that game was through with the hacking and all that. I mean, that's not really why it should get a nomination. It should get a nomination if it's considered one of the best games this year. Crimson Desert gets snubbed. Crimson Desert won't get snubbed. It won't even get, I mean, it's not even close in the running. If you look back on this year, I don't think the review outlets and I don't think the scoring circuit is going to look kindly on that game and be like, oh yeah, it deserves to be up there with Resident Evil 9 and Pragmata and Mina the Hollower and GTA 6. Like, I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think people are going to... The review outlets are not going to go back and, like, retroactively change how they felt about the game at launch. It didn't score well at launch because it had a terrible launch. And I think that's plenty of reasons to not qualify. I think those are perfectly good reasons to not qualify. It's also, kind of a lopsided game. The story was, not very good. Mechanics weren't working. Elements of the world weren't working. It took months, to fix a lot of the issues. So I don't think the review circuit is gonna turn around. Like, Black Myth Wukong was very different. I think that even though it didn't score particularly well, it aged well and people thought fondly of it, and there was a very, very strong cult following for it. And I don't think that's happening with Crimson Desert. Angry Pete with 59 months. Thank you for doing that renewal celebration. Keep up the great content. Thank you. Yeah, Beast of Reincarnation will not receive a nom, no. I think it's time for the Game Awards to increase the number of nominees for Game of the Year to 10. Count it! Thank you, Brett, getting us to 120. We're a 5-bomb away from 125. Remember, between Twitch and YouTube, whoever hits it gets it. I owe you a member every 25. So, perfect time to steal. And Twitch, you're a little behind today. It's 25 to 11. I don't think I would be against that. Increasing the number of nominations to 10. I don't think I would be against that. Genshiro Secret Stash with 19 months. Thank you so much for your renewal as well. That's a member plus. Remember, guys, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to count brand new members as 2 in the total. So if you click join right now and I see that white badge pop up, I will count it as a 2. So that's a great reason to become a member right now. You can really boost the total. Instead of waiting for the gifteds, you can jump in right now. I would take issue with it being 10. How many when they do movie of the year? What's the most nominations we've ever seen? Best Picture, right? What is the largest group of Best Picture nominations there has been? I can't type for the Oscars. What is the largest group of Best Picture nominations there's been for the Oscars? Let's see. I'm not seeing. I can't get an answer. That's surprising. It looks like AI can't find the answer. The largest group of Best Picture nominee Academy Awards is 10, a size used during the early years of the Oscars from 1932 to 1943, and it was reinstated permanently in 2011. The expansion to 10. The Academy expanded the category back to a fixed 10 nominees in the 2009 film slate after The Dark Knight missed out, to allow more blockbusters and mainstream movies into the top race. So apparently there were 12 nominees in 1936. They went away from such a large number, and then they've gone back to that number. I think 10 is a perfectly fine number. Anything higher than 6, I mean, even 8 would be better than what we've got now. 6 just seems, and 6 is only if there's a tie. 6 is only if there's like a really close tie or something, or like So it's like it's supposed to be 5. It's supposed to be 5. So I would be fine with 10. I think Game of the Year would have to be a year to year, dependent on how many games were that good. You'd have to adjust the number. I mean, I think it's fine to open it up to 10. I do think that would allow games that are in more of like the 85 score range to get in and get recognized as one of the best games that year. You know what I mean? When it's 5 or 6, as soon as you have like an 85, you're probably not going to get up there. I think 10 would allow for more games to be celebrated, to say, listen, it's an obscene amount of good games coming out every year. And I know the Oscars went back to the 30s. There's enough releases to justify 10 slots. Yeah, I feel like every year we have the conversation of like what got snubbed or what should have gotten a nom. I think some of that would calm down a little bit if you went to 10, because it would be unlikely that something deserving wouldn't get up there. It'd be very rare to be like, oh no, this game here with an 82 deserved it or whatever. Keep it at 6. We need the competition, best of the best. Well, there's only one winner, you know what I mean? It's not like you're going to have 10 and then you're going to award 3 people, three games or something. They don't want to stop nominating artsy-fartsy crap, so they just made room for actual good movies to get noms. I mean, I'm not going to get into a debate with you about the Oscars because I don't care. Within the Game Awards, I think it could certainly benefit both the developers, the games, as well as the event to have 10 nominated games for Game of the Year, because that increases the prestige and the viewership of the event, because more people are going to tune in to be like, hey, I really liked such and such a game and it got nominated. I want to see if it wins. Like, I actually think that it would be good. I don't think it would be bad for anybody to increase it. Even if you just increase it to 8, that would be good, because you just get more eyeballs on the event. If you do 10, you can have it's just an honor to get nominated. For sure, because then you could have games being like, hey, we were a Game of the Year nominated game, you know? Game of the Year this year is going to be tough. Right, yeah, worst gen ever. That's right, Jack Garland. Gaming is terrible, it stinks, and this is the worst gen ever, as we're basically saying there are so many good games coming out this year, we need 10 nominated slots for Game of the Year. Oh, gaming just stinks, doesn't it? It just stinks. As one of the best years in gaming, takes place. People are going to be fighting, tooth and nail over the nominated categories and over all that. Crimson should get Most Improved Award. That's not an award. Did you see that Asha talked about Elder Scrolls 6? I don't really care what she says. I don't think much of what she says is interesting, because I don't think anything the company says right now is real or rooted in reality. It's all smoke. We won't see that game for a really long time, so I genuinely don't care what her or Matt Ball or Matt Booty says. I just think they're a bunch of smokescreen artists, and I think their commentary is uninteresting. I would need to drop $1,000 just to get all the upcoming games that I want. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot of games, and I've said this before. Like I was talking this morning about Phantom Blade Zero. If you guys haven't seen the latest Phantom Blade Zero gameplay, my reaction was like, "Oh wow, this actually looks better than I expected. This actually looks better than I expected." I think it's going to be a really, really tough season going forward. From this week forward, it's going to be a very tough season for good games. If your game is good, it's going to be tough. Going to be very, very, very tough. So far, what's your game of the year? Man, Soros and Pragmata are basically tied for first. Pragmata was probably the best new IP I have played since Returnal, and Soros was probably the best third-person shooter action game I've played since Returnal. And you guys know, like, Returnal is like one of my all-time favorite games. So yeah, right now it's like, I remember the one year it was basically tied between like Yote and Expedition 33. This year it's like it's basically tied between Saros and Pragmata. Like they're both just so good in their own right. I'm really hopeful they do some more content with Saros. They've been tweeting an awful lot. They've been tweeting about the sales. They just did a little video about the soundtrack and how they use like the Abbey Road studio. Like Housemarque's been tweeting a lot, so I don't know. They might be gearing up for something. They might be gearing up for an announcement. They're probably having to be very careful navigating the marketing right now. Number one, everybody's under like strict don't talk about physical v digital thing because, you know, the Alana Pierce let us know about that, right, with her video. That they were basically all told to not talk about it. And so, but they're also having to navigate a very full year. Like, I'm surprised they're doing the Ghosts of Yote Complete Edition on October the 1st. I'm kind of surprised they're doing that. Get Rahul back on the show and grill him. He doesn't know anything. He hasn't recorded anything he said extra. So, I mean, he did kind of speak to that. Now, if he gets back in the studio and starts recording, I think, you know, he might drop a hint or they might drop a hint. It'll be pretty obvious. I follow him and what he's been doing on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Gotta have a little man crush outlet for myself. And I've not seen him even hinting at recording anything. So we'll see. I'll be one of the first to know. You know, I'm sure he's followed by a lot of content creators, but I'll be one of the first to know because I'll be pulling up Instagram and I'll be like, yo, the homie's in the studio. What's he doing? You know, and then we'll potentially get more. There's also the possibility that he didn't have to record any new lines. If they're just going to do like a Tower of Sisyphus type of thing, then he might not have needed to record anything new. They could have just done new cutscenes with other actors, and all his stuff, you know, for the actual gameplay has been recorded. I don't think it has the visibility to get Game of the Year, but No Rest for the Wicked also drops. Yeah, No Rest for the Wicked 1.0. Somebody said, could Palworld get a nomination? I don't know, because they dropped their 1.0 this year. So as a business, they still have something big for their 25th anniversary on November the 15th, so it's possible for us to see something around that time. My current opinion of Xbox is so low. My trust and confidence in them as a company is so low. Until I'm playing the game, I really don't care what they say or show. I think they're incredibly dishonest. I think they've done nothing but smoke and obfuscation for 6 years, and I've gotten very little quality out of them. So, you know, Gears is enjoyable. I'm excited for Gears. Until I'm playing Gears, I don't really have a commentary about it other than the beta that I played. But my opinion of that brand and company is so incredibly low, I just don't really pay much attention to what they say because I really don't care. It's just like, it's like when that person lies to you for the last time and you just really, really move them out of the frame of your life. I don't trust them. I just don't. The id Software podcast, where a guy currently working at the company confirmed every single thing that I said that was probably going on, and that they were lying to us and they were being dishonest about the state of id Software. Guy working at the company basically confirmed everything that I said. When I saw that, I was like, I'm just done with this brand. They're incredibly dishonest. They're incredibly untrustworthy, and there's no reason to give them any loyalty or trust right now. Those that do are doing it for the sake of the game because they like the console war, or they have the most unbelievable form of Stockholm syndrome that I've ever seen. They don't deserve any loyalty or trust right now at all. Yes, I was being asked about her tweet about the Elder Scrolls 6. I think it's a clown show. I really do. I think the brand is a clown show. So unless they provide a game and I'm playing it and then I can actually, you know, formulate my opinion about the game, everything they say is pointless to me because they've been talking for 6 years and not delivered much. Remember when Phil pretended to play a game that never released? Yeah, Phil did the same thing. That's why I don't know why anybody cares what they say at this point. Dragon Balls as well. You can't believe anything they tell you. Enshrouded 1.0 is like a couple of weeks from now, right? Enshrouded coming to console. So Gears is good. It's just taking like 7 years. Yeah, I enjoyed the Gears beta. I did. I enjoyed the Gears beta. I'm looking forward to Gears when it releases. I am. It would be a lot more convenient to play co-op with my wife if it, released on PlayStation, but I should be able to figure it out with the Xbox and my PC. I don't even think about them anymore unless someone else brings it up. Yeah, I just don't. I saw that tweet. I literally didn't even include it in today's show. It's just a big giant nothing burger. The whole brand is, in my opinion. Let them make a great game and have Lona go, wow, I guess I was wrong. Yeah, I mean they've driven my expectations into the red. I just expect them to be dishonest and ruin studios and property. That's my expectation from them going forward. So, yeah. Anyways, some of the other things we covered in the open that I care a lot more about than that brand. Hogwarts Legacy 2. I'm kind of curious where you guys landed on that one. Because that one, to me, that could be significant. Nothing's going to rival GTA, we know this. But a Hogwarts Online could do numbers. It could do numbers. Really could. And Avalanche has had a number of job postings talking about things that sound like a Hogwarts MMO. Well, it sounds like an MMO, and I don't know if Avalanche would be working on 2 games. You think it's going to be 2 games? So when you say that, do you picture like Hogwarts Legacy 2, single player, maybe some co-op, but single player primarily, and then like Hogwarts Online, secondary thing? Why can't you play co-op with your wife on Xbox? Because the split screen will probably be garbage performance. That's nothing against Coalition. That's just the reality. It probably will run and look like Dookie. We have 2 TVs in the living room, so it's what's great about having 2 PlayStations. We boot up and play game. We were playing Abyssus last night together. Super fun. A new team for the second game. So you think that's why they're hiring. They're hiring a new team for the second game. I don't think they have enough positions to warrant that prediction, but that certainly is a prediction, is that maybe they're working on a second game. There weren't that many positions open. It doesn't sound like a second team is being built. It sounds like they're bringing people in to work on the existing project. That existing project, in my mind, is Hogwarts 2. Never had issues with the older Gears. We prefer each being on our own screen. I severely doubt it's going to perform well split screen, brother. Lego Batman was 30 FPS split screen. I can't see Gears running in a nice solid 60 split screen. I just can't see it. We prefer both being on our own screen anyway. Gets a little cramped. We played like Space Marine 2 that way. It was a dadgum blast. Maybe they already filled the other positions already. I'm imagining that would have been pretty big news. So if they were hiring and forming a team of that size, like a team the size to support an MMO or an online Hogwarts would have made headlines, I think. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just going probability. Like probability, I think it's most probable these positions are to assist them in building the next game, and the next game will have all these online features. The CEO of WB wanted Hogwarts 2 to be a live service game. There's also that. There were very strong indications that they wanted more live service games, and they wanted the next Hogwarts game to be a live service game. You know, you got the CEO of WB pushing for that. You're probably going to do what he says. Yeah, where did he say that, Sean? I know WB said they wanted more live service games. WB CEO wants Hogwarts to be a live service game. Where was that stated? Warner Brothers Gaming CEO stated an interest in shifting major single-player franchises like Hogwarts Legacy into ongoing live service multiplayer models. Despite Hogwarts Legacy selling over 22 million copies as a traditional single-player RPG, WB leadership expressed a desire to build continuous play worlds where users can live, work, build, and play. So apparently, during a March 2024 Morgan Stanley conference, he outlined plans to move away from purely one-and-done console titles and tap into recurring player spending. I would say we have a very, very good reason to think that the next Hogwarts game is going to be live service. Like, ongoing, potentially like MMO light. Because if you think about the room of requirement and what they allowed you to do, yes, they're definitely going that route. Now, obviously the hope would be, given how much people enjoyed the first game, you would be able to play Hogwarts sequel by yourself and have a perfectly good time. Seeing all the Star Wars Galactic coverage showing gameplay, they should pick you, Lono, and give you access also. You should have a key. I mean, I don't even know who I would reach out to. Sadly, we don't have a lot of contacts in the industry like I used to. I would be happy to be one of the people to review that game, because as a non-racing game fan, my endorsement could be, pretty helpful to you guys and anybody else who watches the video, because I think that's going to be one of the things about that game that wins people over, is that it's not a game specifically built for racing fans. It's a game built for just fans of games and Star Wars. Like, you don't have to be a racing fan or a Star Wars fan. It sounds like and looks like just a good game. So, hate to hear that. Hopefully, it's not like Justice League. Hogwarts co-op would be awesome. Okay, here's the thing about Justice League, because let's kind of tease this out a little bit. Justice League was a problem because from the ground up, they were trying, it felt like to me, they were trying to shoehorn live service into a story where it didn't fit. Hogwarts, it fits. There's events, there's seasons, there's an open world, there's flying. Something you need for big open world live service like MMO-style games is you need some form of vehicular traversal, usually a mount, a car, something. You have the big giant school grounds. You have Quidditch. You have the various types of spells, and then you clearly had opportunities for cooperative play. You have dungeon-like fights that could have puzzles, big, huge boss fights that could have specific mechanics, like you need to be doing, Stupefy, I need to be doing Blow V8 or whatever the one was called. Was it called Blow? It wasn't called Blow V8. that's a different word. What was the one that Ginny uses it? I can't freaking remember it. I'm reading The Hobbit to the kids now, so it's all out of my my heads, all the terms. The first one was fantastic. Just give me that again. Well, that's the thing, is they've got their chops, so they would be expanding from what they built the first time and adding in multiplayer, adding in live service elements. So I actually think it would be good. Like they could really do it. They could really do a good job. Why does everything need a rogue? This guy says one of the worst gaming genres. One of the most successful gaming genres. Let me fix that for you. Yeah, it's a completely optional mode. There's a guy on Twitter who's really, really angry about the rogue mode coming to Yote. Who owns WB now? Yeah, I don't know. They were going through a buyout, weren't they? Has that finished? Ginny is known to be good with the bad bogey hex. No, she does the big explosive one in the room of requirement when they're training, and then she does it when they're in that place with all of they're in the Ministry of Magic, and she does it and everything starts crashing down. No one owns it right now. WB never got bought. Paramount are going to be the owners if the deal closes. That's right. Yeah, it's currently being litigated. That's right. Yeah, nothing has happened there. So yeah. I mean, again, going back to what I was saying, like, Kill the Justice League didn't work because a single player studio suddenly tried. Is that it? Is it Bombarda? Is that what she does? They suddenly went into Kill the Justice League as like, well, we typically make single player games. Let's try to make a live service game. Now, I want you to imagine if they would have made a live service game. Bombarda, oh, for Pete's sakes. What spell does Ginny do at the Ministry of Magic that causes the explosion? There's no Potter lore nerds here to help me out. Reducto. I knew it wasn't Bombardo. Yeah, it's Reducto. It causes the big, huge blast. I was like, I know it's not Bombarda because she does it in the Room of Requirement and it impresses Harry. She's really good at Reducto. Thank you. All the Potter lore nerds failed me because I am definitely not one of them. I mean, I've read half the books to my kids. She's used in the movies. She does it in the book too, doesn't she? Maybe I'm confusing the movies with the books because we read the book and then watched the movie like back to back with the kiddos. In any case, Kill the Justice League. I want you to imagine instead of them doing that, okay, what if they would have taken Arkham, the whole map of Arkham from Arkham Knight, and they would have made some sort of knock-around, loot-based, grindy game where you could have had like a ragtag team of people, crime fighting or whatever in that city. You'd have all these open world activities and then escalated activities and harder things and boss fights and everything else in the world of Arkham, okay, in that city that they built for Arkham Knight. I think that could have worked far better because you would have gone into existing systems and been like, what can we do with all these really good things that we've built? You've got a living world, you've got streets, you've got thugs, you've got, all the different things that you can do. The problem with Kill the Justice League is like they went a route that was like it was like they tried to do something they had never done in a world that they had never really built before, and it kind of tainted everything. Going into the world of Hogwarts and saying, well, we have the big giant school and we have Hogsmeade and the grounds and the Quidditch, field, and we've got the Forbidden Forest. We have all these places that we could potentially use, and then you could add more areas as well. I think that could be a great foundation to build upon. So, I'm dying for a rogue mode in Yote. So many fights were either too short or felt too long because I wanted to go to the next story point. Yeah, I think rogues coming to single-player games like that is just so smart. Like, the Valhalla update for God of War was so fun. I had such a blast with it. W Games just sitting on the Nemesis system is horrible. Shadow of War Mordor is so fun. Yeah, I agree with you. Yote has so much going on with its different weapons. You could cycle through each weapon and go back to the first weapon feeling refreshed, for sure. You mean Gotham Knights at 60 FPS? In the books, Ginny's well known for the Bat Bogey Hex. That probably develops later on. The next book that we're going to read, the illustrated edition releases in October for the Half-Blood Prince. That might be established in Half-Blood Prince or the Deathly Hallows, because up to now that hasn't really been established. At least I'm not remembering it being established in the story yet. It probably gets established. She becomes a more prominent character in the next two books because up to now she's a bit in the background, and Harry's interest in Cho fades and Ginny starts to take center frame, and I think that happens in the last two books. So then they'll probably get into that. She's very much out of the frame for most of the books. And then near the end of the one that we just did, which wasn't the it wasn't the Goblet of Fire, it was the other one, dadgummit. We finished that one. At the end of that one, she takes a more prominent, position, but it's very, very late in the book where they're using the Room of Requirement and stuff, and it's the one with frickin' dadgummit. I can't remember anything today. I can remember the voices because I had to do all the voices for the kids, but I can't remember the evil teacher's name. Cho is done by book 5. Ginny is really only important in 6. Might actually be in the Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, we'll have to see. I can't remember the name of the book before Half-Blood Prince. Order of the Phoenix. Thank you. Golly goodness. Are you gonna watch Harry Potter TV show? I don't know. I know they're already casting for season 2. I'm not all that interested in it. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, consider hitting the like button. There's a lot of stories and things to comb through. Ghost of Yote announced its complete edition. I reacted to the Phantom Blade Zero gameplay. We've been talking about Hogwarts Legacy and whether or not it ends up being sort of a live service or an MMO game. There was also the Star Wars Zero Company previews that show a lot of promise. I may, in fact, play the game. I don't know if you guys have seen this on Special Nick's timeline. The Legend of Zelda Pro controllers and Switches have been seen in the wild. I'm not going to put pictures in this broadcast because Nintendo is incredibly litigious, but they have been seen in the wild. They're not necessarily Ocarina of Time themed. They're just Zelda themed. So I think Special Nick, I've been trying to get him on the show. We're trying to work out a schedule. But somebody said there's a date. Yeah, apparently it could be coming November the 12th. Special Nick says not necessarily. I personally guessed November the 19th, and November has released special edition hardware before. This isn't an Ocarina hardware, so it doesn't necessarily have to be tied with the release either. Well, I would imagine if you're releasing a Zelda controller for the 40th anniversary, and you're releasing a Zelda Switch, it would be in conjunction with Ocarina of Time, which we're seeing now rumors and screenshots that will likely then be November sometime. So they are looking to go head-to-head with GTA 6, which is absolutely insane. Zero Company has me interested. The interesting thing about Star Wars Zero Company is, like, I was not interested in it at all. Then I read these previews, and I'm like, maybe I should try this game out. Gee, mini Christmas. There's just so many games. Like, if it doesn't hook me, then it's a lost cause. You know what I'm saying? I just put my list together of games to play this year. It's a good year. I still need to finish Black Flag, which I should have time for now since we've decided that, you know, the GTA Online thing's not going to work. So, I don't think Cho did that. I think it was a friend of Cho's. After Cho rats to Umbridge. Yeah, they changed that in the movie. It's not Cho. It's not Cho. Cho's friend does it, and she's not really all that trustworthy, and she's kind of snooty in the book. And then they change it in the movies, and Cho does it, but then they reveal that Snape gave her the truth serum. He tells Umbridge he's all out of truth serum because she used the last of it on Cho. So it's different in the books, though. And even in the movies, it's not something that Cho did of her own accord. She was basically interrogated and given truth serum. Phantom Blade looks insane. It does. It looks really, really good. The first thing I noticed in Phantom Blade, the first thing I noticed, so you get Donnie Yen, creative consultant. So he was a creative consultant, and he's the motion capture so the lead protagonist, this is like your dad. So Donnie Yen is in it, which we've seen the cutscenes with the baby. I'm imagining we're the baby, I guess. But yeah, I think Phantom Blade Zero gameplay looks absolutely phenomenal. And then here's your pricing. You've got your standard edition for $60, deluxe edition is $70, and you'll get a bunch of, like, it looks like outfits and a digital art book and soundtrack. So I think it's actually kind of dope that the $70 version is the deluxe. They may win some goodwill with people there, since they're the standard edition is $60. So what do you think? We're talking about Survivors yesterday. I would like to not have the conversation happen again in live. Thank you. Yeah, Paul, it just doesn't line up. It doesn't work. I mean, that's the long and short of it. There's not really deliberation or debate that needs to happen. It just doesn't line up with what I want to do. Can't sneak them here. If you just go to Special Nick on Twitter, you can see the screenshots. He retweeted some of them. So, oops, hang on. I forgot to pause. There we go. It'll stop stuttering. That stuttering is when I have the Twitch dashboard running. So this looks like it might be the opening of the game, the opening of Phantom Blade Zero. And the first thing I noticed was that this was far more cinematic than I expected. Like, just this opening sequence of, like, him, and the use of the camera, and this very much has, like, a movie, quality to it, which I know people get all like, oh, movie game. Like, there's certainly an aspect to this that it's a little bit of that quick time event. Did you see somebody bought an Elite controller off eBay and it was unreleased Elite Series 3? I did not see that. Have they mentioned if it's Pro Enhanced? I think when you go to the Phantom Blade Zero page, it says that, I believe. Those of you that were excited about GTA Online, guys, the crew is still available and it's still a member perk. You can still get in the Discord and play with people. Actually, no, it's not listed on the PlayStation landing page for Phantom Blade Zero. It's not listed. Phantom Blade Zero, let's see. PS5 Pro Enhanced. Phantom Blade Zero will launch. Developers have confirmed it'll have pro enhancements. I'm going to see where they say that. PS5 Pro support. Yeah, I don't know. AI can get things wrong. We'll probably get info on whether or not it's pro enhanced next week during the State of Play. So if you guys missed it, there's a PlayStation State of Play. There's a PlayStation State of Play that will be taking place Monday the 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern. Very late in the day for me, obviously, but we will do our due diligence to cover that. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you would like to chat, you do need to be a member. We're going to start running members-only chats just because I would like to show appreciation to those who are supporting the channel directly or who get it gifted. That's a huge need for the channel, and that is one way we're gonna show that thanks and appreciation to those who contribute to what we do here. And if you can't contribute, you might get a gifted, so still be here listening and lurking, and you could get a gifted member from people that gift. But that is currently running on the channel. Another great way to support is to hit like and subscribe on the channel. That helps this video. I feel like, too, like, the reason I feel like this is kind of the opening is they're just getting you accustomed to the idea of, like, all the various things you're going to have to do in a fight, from dodging to parries to blocks, and they're not really letting you move around. Wait, I thought all digital games are going to be $100 now. That's right. Star Wars Zero Company Standard is only $60, and the Deluxe is $70, which is nice. I remember when people started asking the question after Mario Kart was $80, and people expressed concern about game prices. And I said, while it's not fun to see games get more expensive, whether it's Mario Kart or GTA 6 at $80, I actually think it can create a downstream effect that benefits us, which is it gives room in the market to leverage your price point as marketability. So you can enter the market as a smaller studio and be like, oh, our game's 50 or 60, and everybody kind of celebrates that, and then it actually can help with sales of the game or what have you, and that can give more pricing variance in the market. And then a really good thing that consumers can do is, if we support said games, then maybe other studios will take note. Like, if there's high demand for games that are 50 and 60, and there's a noticeable uptick in their sales, that might be like unexpected. Here again, you can see the cinematic quality of the game with like the faces. I was not expecting this. This looks like sort of like a major, AAA blockbuster. To my surprise, I did not think that we were necessarily going to be getting this level of quality, because I believe up to this point these guys have done like mobile games, right? I don't think these guys are necessarily known for this level of quality and attention to detail. So very cool to see. It's easier to charge less when you sell more copies. Even Nintendo did that with their own games. Rhythm Heaven was $40, Splatoon Raiders was $60, it's digitally $50. Yeah, Madam and I played Abyssus last night, and we really enjoyed it. My biggest problem now with Abyssus, or really any rogue for Madam and I, is we want to play for about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. But the problem is, you end up in a run, and if the run is going good, you end up playing for 2.5 to 3 hours. And it's like, well, if we're wanting to kind of have maybe some snacks and watch a show, I really wish like games like Abyssus and others featured like save points. Isn't Control 2 cheaper as well? I actually don't know. Let's see. Control Resonant PlayStation. Let's see. Control Resonant. Yeah, it's 60. Yeah, you see, like, I think people are very, very quick to, get upset and get angry and demonize. And listen, I understand. I get it. But one of the benefits of like the top price of games going up is it does open up for pricing variance for games to come into the market for 60 or 50 and then potentially do very well. And then again, that could create, this combat looks ridiculous. It really, really could create a lot of more pricing variables. And then when someone's like, oh man, that game sold crazy good at 60, you might see other games decide that that's the right call, to launch their game at 60 instead of 70. I don't think 80 is going to necessarily have the magnetism that people think it's going to have. I just don't think so. I think people are... I think they're really, really jumping ahead. Certainly, eventually, game prices go up. That's not happened all that often historically. Like within the history of games, we haven't had very many. We've had very, very, very few price increases. I would think they just had to back off because sales aren't as good at 70. Right, which again I think could have a really, really good effect. Like you could see more and more companies say, hey, 60 is a great place to land right now because it draws attention from people. It's only $10 less, but it really draws attention from the public as to like, oh, it's not a $70 game. It's not an $80 game. If you try to do $80 right now, you're going to get compared to GTA 6, and I don't think people necessarily want that, in the headlines or in the reviews or the comparisons. So... The market speaks. Us combat snobs will be living large with this one. Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero and Onimusha continue to really, really get my attention. They really, really do. The moment-to-moment seems, just absolutely stellar. I really, really think we've... And I know people have... fatigue, like sword game fatigue. But I don't necessarily think... Here's something I'll say about that, because I know some people are like looking at these games like, my gosh, how many times am I going to play a game as a guy with like a samurai hat on and a sword? I think as long as there is a distinctive feel and vibe to the combat, then it's almost like saying, oh man, another Metroidvania. Like, Castlevania Belmont's Curse obviously looks nothing like Ori or Silksong, and yet all of those would be considered amazing Metroidvanias, right? Well, I mean, Belmont's Curse isn't out yet, but I'm assuming it's going to review well and be a great game. I think that's a fair assumption based off of what we've seen, but obviously it could be terrible. So to me, I think in the same way that like a 2D platformer, action platformer, or like a 2D side-scroller Metroidvania, they can all have very different vibes and approaches. I think similarly, games like this can have very different approaches to the combat, where the stuff I'm seeing here, I don't feel like I've ever really done in a video game before, and so I don't feel like this is going to bleed together with Sekiro, Rise of the Ronin, Yote, or other games like this that I've played. Swordman will continue until morale improves. That's right. Oh, Swordman, yes. Swordman will continue. That's right. The game has multiple weapon choices. Yeah, there does seem to be good weapon variety in Phantom Blade Zero as well, which I think can really, really help with the the worry about it feeling like kind of like rote and rehearsed. Phantom Blade Zero specs. According to multiple reports, the game will not rely on lumen and nanite. Instead, it's going with traditional baked lighting and a standard level of detail LOD system, along with optional ray tracing, shadow reflections, and path tracing. I think these specs further confirm it. Not bad specs for PC also. Yeah, I would say that's a good thing for a game that you want to run very tight, very snappy, and you want it to run very well. I would say that is that overall is a good thing because that's going to help with performance and frame rate and things that I think are incredibly important to a game like that. So that is that means they prioritize the right things, because a lot of times you could go into a game like that, and if they prioritize all the fancy things and the lighting and everything else, so. Are they teasing something? I told you that Housemarque had been tweeting quite a bit. Maybe they're getting ready to announce something. I think that they're going to announce the Blue Precipice, personally. I think that's going to be an extra piece of content. It's a location that we haven't gone to yet. Hang on 1 second. Total eclipse shrouds parts of Europe. Is this a sign? Yeah, I would say they could be getting ready to say something. Like if you go to the Housemarque Twitter account, so they just tweeted this 11 minutes ago. Time is about to run out, so Saros has been on sale. The Sun is Forever, so they've been pushing the sale. They were nominated for the soundtrack or whatever. And then the director of the game, he's been tweeting a lot. He's been tweeting about how they made the soundtrack. There was like an Abbey Road thing that he tweeted. So they might be getting ready to say something, because he's been very active on Twitter. Like, I feel like every day I've seen multiple tweets from him. I'm going to see if I can't find one. I don't remember his name. I don't necessarily remember his name. I do remember he liked my tweets when I was quoting the Yellow King, or the King in Yellow, before the game came out. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's new playable heavy weapons in Yote. There's a hammer and then some kind of... Is that a polearm? Is that what they call it? Like the big long spear with an axe head at the end? It looks like there's going to be a warhammer and a... Okami's calling it a giant axe. I think it's called a polearm, isn't it? They could be taking advantage of the fact that there is indeed a full eclipse happening. It could just be that. Yeah, it could just be that. I'm trying to find the director. He was in my feed this morning, so if I scroll down far enough, I should be able to find him. He's been very, very active. So that sometimes to me feels like they're getting ready, they're getting ready to say something when you have, people in those positions kind of on socials and saying stuff. Halberd? Is it a halberd? Yeah, it's a halberd, a two-handed polearm. Oh, it is a polearm, so it's the same thing. Measuring 6 to 8 feet long, featuring an axe head and a top spike. Yeah, so it's a halberd. So there's a giant hammer and a halberd in the Ghost of Yote DLC that was announced today. An expansion coming October the 1st, along with a rogue mode and transmog. That is something that is only $15 if you already own Yote. You can buy the game of Yote with everything included for $70. We read through that blog earlier. There's a Gears of War Xbox controller that was announced as well. Let's see here. I'm not fine. I can't remember his name. I cannot remember his name. Let's see here. We have to go back. Wait, Nixus says, we've worked together with Arrowhead on additional improvements to image quality when using upscaling on all platforms. On PS5 Pro, we've added support for the upgraded PSSR upscaler. These changes are now live in Helldivers 2 Devoid of Liberty. So it looks like Nixus is really stepping in and helping with things with respect to the Pro. I wonder if Nixus is heavily involved in other things like, the PS6 or the handheld. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Nixxes is really leaning in a way that's somewhat unexpected, but also in a way that, like, I feel like they're becoming more than a support studio. I feel like Nixxes is becoming integral to PlayStation's hardware or something. Like, I don't know. It's a gut instinct there. I think Nixxes is becoming more involved. Like, I wonder if we're going to start to see, you know, them working alongside Mark Cerny for future hardware efforts, if they're assisting with like PSSR upgrades and implementations into existing games. They've got to do something since they're not working on PC ports anymore, right? You know? Gregory Loudon. Is that him? Okay, hang on a second. Yes. Thank you. I'm following him, and I couldn't remember his dadgun name. I was just, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So here we go. 3 hours ago, he says, awesome write-up on our sound design. Congrats all involved. Better late than never, right? A little highlight here is that they did the mix with the amazing PlayStation Creative Arts London team at Abbey Road. So very, very cool that they were able to do that. Then he retweets this, the interview from 17 hours ago. And then yesterday, thrilled and honored to be doing a keynote. So he's going to be doing a keynote at an event. And then a day before that, if you've been waiting on the sale, he tweets that. And so cool to see Arjun from Saros here. So yeah, he's right there in the front. So yeah, I don't know. He's been tweeting a lot, and it makes me wonder if something's getting ready to happen with Saros. So the eclipse might just be pure coincidence. Yeah. It means like Nixxes is more like a software engineer that helps wherever it's needed. I don't know. I have a hunch that Nixxes is becoming more involved, in a way that we'll see more results of, in the future. Let's see here. Phantom Blade Zero Combat will be fast-paced like Ninja Gaiden Devil May Cry, since the producer wanted more gameplay back in the action games. So, what is this? Yeah, I'm getting a little birdie in my ear saying that Nixxes is helping with more foundational things. So my hunch may be indeed correct that they're more involved now. So YouTube's run like butt on my side right now for some reason. It doesn't seem like we've had any issues today. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, try and do that for me. Let's get to 300 likes. If you've been watching on a regular basis, make sure that's a part of your ritual. Also, make sure you're celebrating your renewals. If you're paying for a membership on either platform, you want to make sure and celebrate those renewals. If you have a Prime, you have to do that manual every month on Purple, so don't forget to do that. Yeah, we're on pace to have another week without the goal. Getting to a point where we might just stop doing that altogether. I'm not actually sure. We might have to reevaluate that entirely, but the goal seems to be in a weird spot right now for that weekly thing that we do with Madam and all the rest. So if you guys have suggestions or ideas, if you see other people doing things, feel free to leave comments or suggest those things in the Discord. You can suggest those as well in Green Room, which is a segment we do every day with the members. The OA coming in with 27 super chat. I bet Bluepoint was offered a similar position and declined. I don't know if Bluepoint has the pedigree that Nixxes does for this type of thing. Like, I don't know if Bluepoint had that pedigree. Bluepoint's particular set of skills literally seem to be centered around remakes. So I don't necessarily think that they would have been able to do what like Nixxes is doing. I think Nixxes has a lot more pedigree within development, within software. So, yeah. Hired a detective to find MASH. Yeah, well, we looked into that further. Yeah, the currency thing got updated this year. I don't think some of that was done with good intentions. We did a little bit of research into that. Just saw Ghosts of Yote has a new expansion dropping October 1st. Don't know if you saw that already. Yep, we reacted to it. Looks very cool. Echoes of Sekirigahara is dropping October 1st, also with a new roguelike survival mode, as well as transmog. You can buy the entire game, the complete edition, for $70, which is a great deal because you're getting the entire game plus all the extras just included for basically the retail price of $70. If you already own the game, you can get all the new cool stuff for $15. So that's pretty exciting. Even if you don't buy the update, even if you don't buy the content, you will get the transmog update, which is pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to be adding transmog to Tsushima, but it was one of my main requests for Ghost of Tsushima for the longest. So after the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, I think Nixxes took that role from Blue Point as well. Yeah, remaster's not really a remake. Yeah. So MASH was a rat the whole time. They updated the currency this year. YouTube did it, and they sent me a message about it. And so I went and looked at all the currency rates, and basically he was gifting like 50 members for like $3. So it was definitely done with the intention to hurt me financially. 100%, because I was gifting back in response and essentially good intentions. So don't really mind saying that publicly because I think that kind of an effort is incredibly insane to me. But I'm glad they updated the localized pricing so people can't do it anymore, because that was a enormous and incredibly silly loophole. Absolutely insane that they were letting people do that. Like gifting 50 members for $3. Like that's just absolutely absurd. So yeah. That's why everything looked wrong last year when I went and looked at it after a while. I was like, something's not right. So props to YouTube. Props to YouTube for putting a stop to that this year. Unfortunately, it was way too late, as many people were taking advantage of it. So I don't understand. When I gift, I get charged Canadian money. You will continue to get charged your currency. Yep. You will continue to get charged your currency. Yes. But the conversion rate now doesn't absolutely brutalize me. Like, you will have to pay your currency's amount equal to that. So now if you want to gift 50, you have to spend your country's currency equal to US dollars of 50 members. Does that make sense? Like, it's absurd what the conversion rate was, and that's with the Argentinian. So yeah, it was 100% done with intent to hurt me. That's why when we discovered it was happening, one of the other big primary gifters started being really nasty and saying nasty stuff, because that's why they were here. They were here to do that, to be disruptive. So really, really insane that people would do that. This is literally how I provide for my family. So attempting to hurt me financially is crazy, but it has been rectified. Thank you to YouTube for fixing that this year, especially. That was done a couple of months ago. So anything to keep their Nix's value is great, especially in these times. Yeah, I'm glad to see Nixis get folded in to a more prominent role. Yes, to be able to do those things, 100%. Because I think they really proved their mettle with the PC ports. And to no longer do PC ports was probably like, wait, what do we do with these guys? Like, this is their area of expertise, you know? So seeing them step into roles to, like, update Helldivers and, you know, get better versions of PSSR and things like that, I think that's a good sign. Yeah, I think that's a good sign. That means that, number one, their pedigree is being leveraged for things that will benefit the consumer. Like, you're going to get better versions of games and, like, better updates. That also could then mean that advancements with the handheld or advancements with PlayStation 6, think about what that means for quality of the games. Like, you have people in the room that are accustomed to taking games, taking content, and getting the most out of them for, like, a port. And their goal is, you know, polish and things running well. Like, that's something that Nixis I think is known for. That's why when, a couple of those ports weren't so good, we were like, yo, what's going on here? The one was Iron Galaxy, Last of Us Part 1. That was Iron Galaxy. That wasn't Nixxes. And then the Insomniac rushing Spider-Man 2 was, I think at some level disastrous for that game's performance on PC. Didn't sell very well. Deservedly so. When you rush a port, I don't think, it should sell. I don't think it should. Multiplayer Witcher spin-off Project Sirius reportedly hit by layoffs and a broader shift in development strategy at CD Projekt Red. I wonder if that multiplayer spin-off is even gonna make it. Thank you, Chrono, for the raid over there on Purple. I appreciate it. Didn't they support the development of Saros? Yes, they did. They also helped Ragnarok get... No, that was Bluepoint. I'm sorry. Bluepoint helped Ragnarok get to market, and Nixxes helped with Saros. Yes. Thank you, Chrono, for the raid on YouTube as well. Nixxes helping with Saros was, I think, one of the earlier indications that something had changed with respect to the PC strategy. Like, something had clearly happened. Like, if you're gonna take Nixxes, of all companies, and, like, not have them working on a port, well, then something's going on. Like, what are they doing? If they're not working on a port, if they're working on helping with Saros, it was like, I think that was probably one of the first indications that there had been a strategy shift at the company. Sony pulling back from PC is akin to Marvel pulling back from Disney Plus shows. Quality over quantity. Yeah. There does seem to be something happening on YouTube. We're hemorrhaging right now. I am sorry. I don't know what's going on. Somebody had already just complained about it a second ago. If you guys are having to refresh, we just lost like 100 people in the span of like 2 minutes. So clearly something's going on the platform. If you're having to refresh, I apologize. I don't know why that's happening. Make sure you're hitting like. Make sure you guys are refreshing your memberships and things like that. There's clearly a front end issue because the back end and the bit rate is all solid as a rock. So I apologize when you guys have to refresh like that. Feel like the jack of all trades for Sony now. I mean, them being more heavily implemented into hardware strategy, I think could be significant. I think that could be very good. Because again, you want, like, I think Mark Cerny has really good foresight for like hardware and hardware strategy. I think that's important. But I also think you want developers in the room that can be like, hey, we had to do X, Y, and Z when bringing these games to PC. So this is some things we want to think about with like scalability, flexibility, like, upscaling, frames per second, making sure a game is well optimized. Like having Nixxes in the room, I think is going to be a potentially like a huge asset to future hardware. I had to refresh like 3 times. Wonderful. Thank you, Gordon, for renewing your membership on YouTube, a membership plus. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay. And, yeah. Ghost of Yote Complete Edition news. I'm just scouring the news cycles here. Okay. Ready, set, play. Sale on PSN. And a 5 bomb comes in from Hidden Siriu. And we are probably facing another week without the goal. Unless you guys go crazy, we shall see. Hidden Siriu just secures another milestone. So I owe YouTube a member. Thank you so much, sir. What do you think of that Zelda Switch 2? So I'm not showing it on screen, Chrono. I don't know if you took the risk of doing that. I don't know how bold you are, but Nintendo's a little litigious. So I don't like showing stuff like that in a broadcast, because if they don't want it seen just yet, they can get a little ticked. I'm not trying to scare you if you showed it, but I think it looks really, really nice. I think it looks dope. So the controller looks dope too. I'm anxious to see gameplay. I'm anxious to see, is it a 1-to-1 remake? Because they originally called it, what did they call it? Like a rebirth. You know what I mean? Austin John Plays showed it. Listen, I can't play fast and loose with my platforms like that. Dynamite Black with 37 months. Thanks for renewing, jumping back in. I can't play fast and loose with my platform like that. Nintendo's a little crazy. So I didn't show it. But I told people, like, yeah, you go look at Special Nick on Twitter. You know, he's retweeted some of the pictures. If it's real, I want to grab the hardware. Yeah, I would be interested. Well, I'm pulling back from, you know, purchases right now. So because the controller does look nice, but yeah, I won't be buying it. But I'm interested the most in just seeing gameplay. Like, what does it mean that the, you know, Ocarina of Time is being reborn? Is it just a straight up remake? Is it a remaster? The one placeholder text was removed and then updated because I think it did say it was a remake. And it seems like they're wanting to avoid that word for some reason, either because maybe they're concerned about a stigma about remakes, or maybe not a stigma, but they're just, maybe they went further than remake. Like maybe they want to really kind of communicate that, like, hey, we've done a whole lot more than just kind of like remake this. So there could be other reasons why, but for some reason we haven't got a firm grasp on what it is they've done. Because number one, we don't have gameplay. Number two, they've not really defined what they've done, which I'm assuming there'll be like an Ocarina of Time direct of some sort that will have gameplay and potentially then information and a breakdown of like what exactly they have done. So we'll see. I'm excited because obviously it's a formative game for a lot of people. You know, for many of us, it's kind of like in the annals of history of gaming, it's up there with, like, you know, the Golden Eyes and the, you know, the other formative games from back then. If you guys are watching on YouTube, double check that you've hit like and saved like. That can help. This guy says, same day as Gears E-Day early access. Sony are some savages. I don't think Sony pays any attention to Xbox's release calendar. Really don't. So, loving the idea of the Ocarina of Time remake launching on GTA launch day, literally. I mean, if they decide to do that, that's absolutely insane. Like, truly. Truly insane. Like, to have those things going head to head. I'll be a little annoyed if I'm honest. Like, put some space between these games so people can, like, enjoy them and play them. Like, having these two, you know, monolithic titles dropping at the same time, I think would be, you know, a tad bit annoying. Space them out like a teeny bit, you know. It wouldn't hurt for Ocarina of Time to land, you know, a week earlier, I should say. So it would get people talking. It would, but like, as bold and hubristic as Nintendo likes to be, I don't think that would be a good idea. So Nicola tweeting here, notice how much content PS5 users got today as a result of those unappreciated PC ports not being a thing anymore. Yeah, that's true. I mean, freeing up Nixes, they can do other things. And a Prime resub from Prince Vegeta. And yeah, I don't know if the like count is because YouTube's acting up or not, but we're once again in this weird cycle where I like have to beg for likes, boys. It just isn't moving, and I don't know if that's because YouTube is acting up. Double check that it's saving. I've just double checked my own. Not everybody that owns a Nintendo will have another device to play GTA. I totally get that. I totally get that, Snake Eyes. But again, I don't know if that's a good decision from Nintendo, even if it's just a 1 week difference. If Ocarina comes out 1 week before GTA, the number of sales and the amount of attention you're going to get would be higher. You have to think about like 90-something million people on PlayStation being like, well, do I want to play a Zelda remake or do I want to play GTA 6? Like, I just don't think it would be a smart business decision. Even the biggest movies tend to avoid each other in the theaters because it's by the nature of the attention and the money and the time and the day. It's a cannibalizing effect. To be in the theater is like the same time as somebody else, as some other major film. So I don't know if Nintendo would be that stupid. Like, that would feel stupid to me to be like, well, we're gonna go against a generational game. It's Ocarina, though. Like, who cares? You're still dealing with attention. You're still dealing with, like, you know what I mean? Like, it being Ocarina doesn't negate that demand would be higher for GTA 6. There are more PlayStation 5s in circulation than there are Nintendo Switch 2s. So unless you're making this thing for the original Switch, unless you're Barbie and Oppenheimer, yeah, I mean, I guess. Not everyone's going to buy GTA 6, though. Zelda probably has separate audience. I'm going to try this one more time. It's not about the fact that there's separate audiences and separate platforms. It's that you're going up against an attention of, these are people that would potentially buy Zelda. How many PlayStation owners are a potential Zelda customer? Why would you launch your game at a time where they have to choose between the two? Money's tight. People are budgeting. There's only so many hours in a day, right? Like, I'm not saying that there's not, like, there's definitely an audience for Zelda, and there's definitely, like, tons of Switches out there of people that are like, yeah, I only play on this or whatever. But if they're only shipping this to Switch 2, that there's way more PlayStation 5s in circulation than Switch 2 at this moment, and then there's all the Xboxes in circulation. So if you add like 90-something million PlayStations and the 30-something million Xboxes, you have over 100 million people that are going to be like, Grand Theft Auto, that's what I'm going to play. You launch a week or two before that, I think you're just, by the sheer nature of how attention economies work, how this attention economy works, you're going to get more sales if you don't launch the same day. So PS Plus is getting Helldivers 2, Vampire Survivors, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I did think that was cool that, like, for the new Helldivers thing, they put Helldivers on PS Plus. I thought that was pretty cool. So, the discussions is quite boring. What discussions are you talking about? Lono, thoughts on this month's lineup for the PS Plus catalog games they just posted? Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, it just hit my feed. It's pretty cool that, like, they're pushing this Helldivers update, new content, and then they're like, hey, let's throw it on PS Plus. Like, that'll just get more people. That'll get more people in the game. Potentially buying war bonds and whatnot. They can't delay it forever. Yeah, I don't think anybody's advocating for delaying. I'm actually advocating for it coming out like a week or two before GTA 6. The rumor is they've got these Zelda controllers and Zelda Switches landing early November. That's no man's land right now because of GTA 6. Like, no one wants to be in that place. In general, it's all over the place. You have a couple of options then. You could ask a question. You could bring up another topic. You could be quiet. No one asked for your commentary on is the discussion interesting or not. Or you could leave. Those are all options available to you. Like, this is what we do here. We cover lots of variety. You literally have a yellow badge, meaning you've been subbed to the channel, you've been a member for a super long time, and you're belly aching about the discussion. You can suggest anything. Bring something else up. Did you see this trailer? What about this game? What about this game coming out? Like, the conversation's all over the place because there's lots of things going on in gaming. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody was sitting here being like, I wonder what Marius thinks about the tone of the discussion right now. You know what I'm saying? Sure, read his chat history. See ya. I tell you what, I'll help you out, because anybody who's going to talk like that, doubt you're paying for your own membership. $27 from the OA. This launch window doesn't matter for people that were already on board and does nothing for people that could jump on board. This launch window doesn't matter for people that were already on board, does nothing for people that could jump on board. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. He does this all the time. Yeah, bad take. Yeah. I'm looking at his, yeah. I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. We took out the trash and we'll just easily replace it. I'm literally going to gift a member, because I can guarantee you that guy wasn't paying for his own. You don't get a gold badge and then you're going to complain about variety topics. That doesn't even make any sense. That's like a 2-year badge. You know what I'm saying? There you go. I just gifted. We'll just replace that bum. Yeah, somebody get these beggars out of here. Exactly. They want to sell Switches for Christmas. GTA won't come to Switch anytime soon. Maybe not ever. No, I totally get that. I don't necessarily know if you guys are hearing what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Zelda will flop, fail, or not get sales if it goes up against GTA. I'm saying if you just launch like 1 week earlier than GTA, you will get more sales. Like, if you're going to argue the antithesis, which would be they'll get the same amount of sales if they launch the same day or week as GTA 6 as they would have if they launched a week or two earlier, I think that position is absurd. There's literally no way that you honestly think that. You can't possibly think that, like, if we're comparing two realities, Zelda launches day of GTA 6 or Zelda Remake launches a week earlier, which do you think would lead to more sales? I think my position is so just obvious and sensible. They would get more sales if they went a week earlier. There's just less going on. There's not some other major title gobbling up attention and money. So that's what I'm saying is, like, yeah, go a week earlier. Go a week or two earlier. Because I don't think you're wrong. They want to be out this quarter. They want to be out this holiday season. They want their Nintendo Switches selling. But if we're comparing timing and I'm in the room talking, I would be telling them, listen, just a week or two earlier is going to help. This thing is eclipsing. This game is absolutely eclipsing. A lot of people that own Nintendo Switch 2s also own PlayStations. They also own Xboxes. So, like, I'm not saying, like, if they launch week of GTA 6, like, it'll flop or it won't do well. That is not at all what I'm saying. I think they launch Zelda end of October. Yeah, the rumor is, like, the controllers and the Switches or what have you are landing early November. Yeah. What do you think of Control Resonance not having a parry mechanic? I think that's fine. I don't think every melee combat game needs a parry. Yeah. If they wait till December, it's in the running for Game of the Year next year. It doesn't have to fight GTA 6 unless GTA isn't in this year. I think the cutoff is going to be a little awkward for GTA 6. Here's why. Usually the cutoff is like the 19th or the 20th. So the 20th being a Saturday is like usually the cutoff. Zinthos with a gifted member gets us to 130. We're a 20 bomb away from 150. You'd be the first 20 bomb of the week. And, hey, that'd put Twitch back in contention. It's 34-12. It's your time to shine, Twitch. So, as far as, like, the Game of the Year contention this year, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if Keighley is going to give people a week or something to be like, hey, GTA 6 launch timing is unfortunate. We're going to bump the window or whatever. I don't know. Do they have the window officially stated this year on the Game Awards? Is it official on their website just yet? Because it's December the 10th. Nominees are coming mid-November, it says. I don't know if they've officially announced whether or not. Let's see here. No. I'm not seeing anything on their website. I'm not seeing a frequently asked questions. Let's see if their formal announcement states anything. The Game Awards will take place Thursday, December the 10th at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. You can share it. They've got tickets, other stories. Follow us, terms, jury. Let's go terms and jury. Terms and conditions. It was updated on November the 19th. I'm sorry, November the 2nd of 2019. Here we go. Facts and rules. This fact's designed to answer many common questions. Can I co-stream? Can I attend? The awards process. How are they selected? Why do you use this jury? How are winners selected? Fan voting closes on December the 9th, it says. What is the cutoff date for eligibility? Eligibility dates for the Game Awards 2026 will be announced in the fall of 2026. So they have not announced the official eligibility window yet on their website. It's not announced here. So, group watch for the Game Awards. Oh, I don't do that. I do any big event like this I do on my own. I think I did it like one time for a State of Play or something, and we there was a time where I made like an annual event of it, and I prefer to do those shows on my own. So yeah, the day after GTA, I don't know. I'm gonna make a prediction. Okay, I'm gonna make a prediction. And a 5 bomb comes in from AOZ and gets us to 135. We're now 15 away from the next milestone. I think he makes the cutoff November 28th. Right? The cutoff date last year was the 21st. I think he bumps it this year. I think he makes the cutoff date the 28th. So all of the outlets and every member of the jury can get the game on the 19th and have an entire week to play and then write their review and then vote. I bet you I'd put cash on the table and say they're going to bump the eligibility to the 28th. AOZ says, F all of the scum of the human race that exploited the membership system. Here's some U.S. money. Thank you, AOZ. I appreciate that. Yeah. I wish we would have caught it sooner last year. Yeah, I wish we would have caught it sooner. So, it hurt. It really did. And this year's we're not doing well this year either. So, yeah. You guys that support directly, you are greatly appreciated. That's why we're running a members only chat. Like, I genuinely want you to know, like, you are literally the reason that we're able to do this. That is not an understatement. So, make sure you're getting into Discord, cash in on all those benefits of being a member. We have the GTA crew running. We've got other games you can play together. We've got the green room every day. So $5 a month goes a long way. And that is definitely a big need in light of some of the things that transpired, the last 24 months. Double dip. Thank you, Omar, for using your Prime over there on Purple. Was wondering why it was quieter today? Yes. Yeah. For the foreseeable future, I just think I want to run members only. I understand some people can't, but I mainly want to make sure that, people understand that is literally a need, and I want folks that are contributing to understand that, like, this is what I can give to you. I can give you your chat. I can give you a Discord. I can give you Green Room. Because for the time being, we can't do content on the channel because they really messed that up. YouTube messed that up last year. Spice King with 24 months in a VIP. Welcome back, dude. 2 whole years. Took me 2 whole years, but my badge is now my favorite color. Wild to think it's been 2 years. I appreciate that, Spice King. Thank you. Yo, good morning, Winged Wheel. How are you? Thank you, everybody, for working, lurking as well. Appreciate it very much. And make sure you guys are hitting the like button as well. Yeah, Ghost of Yote getting an expansion in a roguelike mode. Yep, we already reacted to that. Very exciting. I remember after, God of War got Valhalla, and it got the you need to play both Ghost games. Oh my gosh, yes you do. I wouldn't play them back to back though. I would encourage you to space them out. Another blip. Yeah, we just switched ingest servers. That was actually YouTube switching. That was not me, but that's actually an actual blip. That's not a front end blip. So they're definitely doing something today. I don't know what they're doing, but you're going to probably need to refresh if audio gets funky or if the video gets funky. So, yep. Great way. A great way to alleviate those blips, because they do hurt us quite a bit, is to go crazy on the like button. Everybody go crazy in the chat, and then make sure and celebrate your membership renewals or do a membership or gift. Those are all, clicking all those things, right? Like, chat, all of those things. Sorry, late on the like. No problem. YouTube being YouTube. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I'd put cash on the table. I would put cash on the table that the Game Awards are going to set the time frame cutoff to November the 28th. Why wouldn't you recommend playing the Ghost games back to back? This is obviously just based on my preferences and my temperament. So if you're not like me, then maybe you'll do this, because I know Colin Moriarty platinumed Death Stranding 1 and got an insane amount of hours before going and playing Death Stranding 2. And I even think that was a replay. I am not wired that way. I can't do that. I did Death Stranding 1 and then had a bunch of space in between that and Death Stranding 2. So my recommendation is you would play Tsushima and just squeeze every inch of value out of it. Right? So you'd play through the whole game, you'd clear the map, you'd do the DLC, you'd do all the things. And you're easily going to hit anywhere from 60 to maybe 70, maybe more, 60, 70 hours or more out of Tsushima. Now, if you go right from that to Yote, you can start to get into that familiarity breeds contempt thing. Do you really want to feel like you've lived in that style of game and that world for well over 100 hours? I tend to feel like that's not a smart idea, because you're going to get 10 hours into Yote and be like, oh man, I'm kind of burned on this a little bit. So if you do that, you can get an amazing amount of hours out of Tsushima, go play some other games, play some other things, and then when you play Yote, it'll feel fresh, it'll feel new, you'll enjoy the upgrades, you'll enjoy the improvements, the open world exploration, the graphical uptick, the new weapon system, all the various things. You'll be able to enjoy those and not feel any semblance of being burned out or something. Does that make sense? Now, again, I'm basing that off of my own temperament and my own personality, because I just that's how I am. That's how I kind of operate. Too much Assassin's Creed. I did that. I slept on Assassin's Creed, and then I played AC1, then 2, then Brotherhood, and then I got 5 hours or something into Revelations, and I had to put it down. I was like, this is just too much AC. So you kind of need to switch gears a bit between Ghost 1 and 2. In what regard? The reason I burned out with Assassin's Creed when I was trying to catch up is I played 3 Black Flag, Liberation, and Rogue within a few months of each other. Okay, so it sounds like you might be a little bit similar to me, Chrono, so that's why I would say I would just play just the dickens out of Ghost of Tsushima. Just play everything. It's so good. The story's great. The DLC story's great. Just it's easy. It's easy 60 to 100 hours. Mileage may vary. but you're easily landing 50 to 100 hours in Tsushima without even breaking a sweat. I would do that and then just play a bunch of other stuff and enjoy all these other games. There's all these amazing games coming out. And then when you finally go back to Yote, same thing. You can play easy 50 to 100 hours. No problem. Kind of like Spider-Man 1. It would be like going from Spidey 1 right into 2. I think that's just too much Spider-Man. You played AC3 booty game? I mean, I didn't play AC3. Oh, you're talking to Chrono. Yeah. I did AC 1, 2, Brotherhood, and then I went into Revelations, and I was like, I can't do this. I need a break. I don't think I ever went back to Revelations. Never played AC3 either. Tsushima plus DLCs, easy 50 hours. You're not even going to break a sweat and you're going to get to 50. Here's the crazy thing. This is very interesting, and I don't know if I ever want to do a breakdown of like how this happens. 30 hours in Assassin's Creed Shadows felt longer than 60 hours in Yote. I got to 30 hours in Shadows, and I was like, I'm done. Please just let me end the dadgum story. I want to roll credits, right? I got to 60 hours in Yote, and I was like, oh, it's over? Like, you know what I'm saying? Half the time in Shadows felt longer. 30 hours in Shadows, and I was like, dude, I am so over this. I'm not even sure if I could put to words why. I just don't know. It could be the immersive nature of the story. It could be one game just speaks my language more. It could be the open world exploration felt more organic. I just don't know. But AC Shadows, I got to 30 hours and I was like, dude, I'm done. I don't want to be in here anymore. I got to 60 hours in Yote and I'm heading towards final boss fight and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's already over. Gameplay loop repetition? I just don't know. It's hard to diagnose because there's so many hours there and I wasn't taking notes. I wasn't being hyper self-aware as to like why I might be enjoying one over another. I just wasn't. I wasn't really paying attention to it. I know exactly what you're saying. I felt that way about Dragon Age Inquisition and Veilguard. It took me 90 hours to beat both and I enjoyed playing Veilguard more. Really? I thought you were going to say the opposite. The stealth in Shadows is great, but the combat's very meh, moment to moment. It's barely serviceable in my opinion. I agree with you, Omar. I think one of the reasons I was having such a good time with it is I went heavy stealth. And Naue felt like a return of stealth. It felt like a return of like AC stealth. Okay? So, interestingly enough, once I started doing more combat focus with her, I really was annoyed. Like, I'd get into multi-group fights or boss fights, and I'm like, as you're saying, it was barely serviceable. It was like she didn't have a lot of things at her disposal. And then you go to Yote, and it's like, you have 5 weapons by the end of the game. 5. Kasurigama, dual katana, Yari, Odachi. I think the Yari, right? Is that what they call it? The spear or whatever. It was awesome. It was like I had so many ways of engaging in combat, let alone like just I built into a build where every time they dropped a weapon, I automatically picked it up. It was so dope. It was like they would drop their weapon and she'd be like, whoop, and she'd kick it up into her hand with her foot, take somebody out. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Inquisition side content is extremely tedious, and a lot of it is required side content. I never really wanted to play through Inquisition again because of how tedious the side stuff was. I felt like the combat in Veilguard got mega tedious, like really, really quickly for me. I really liked Veilguard until I didn't. I mean, it went sideways for me. It really did. It just went sideways for me. It took me 70 hours to beat Yote. I think I landed on like 65, and I did a lot. I don't think I left any major stones unturned. I think the only thing I didn't do wasn't there like a lady you could grind their, it was like you could do something with their currency or she had like a shop. I don't remember what it was. I felt like I did all of the major icons on the map though. I'll obviously get back into it and kind of warm up for the DLC and maybe make sure I've not left anything on the map, undone that I think is worth doing. I love the mechanic in games kicking up weapons. 007 made me feel like Wick at times, running through, kicking up and throwing and kicking butt. Yeah, 007 did a really, really good job of balancing. You felt tough and you felt like a capable fighter, but you also could get your butt kicked if you got outnumbered. Like, it felt... I don't want to use the word realistic because I think that's not a super descriptive word sometimes. It's like, what does it even mean, realistic? It felt more, I guess we'll say, accurate to what would happen if a capable fighter got outnumbered. Like, it was like, yeah, that went bad. I got seen, I got caught, whatever. They just started beating the tar out of you or whatever. There were elements of the combat that you could kind of exploit to your advantage. But, yeah, I thought that they did a very good job balancing that in First Light. Because I felt pretty awesome at times, and then you'd kind of bumble around and make a dumb mistake and get caught, and you'd be like, what the heck happened? Like, I got my freaking face beat in. Yote is one of my favorite experiences of a story of all time. I can't think of another game except maybe Witcher 3 where I could stumble onto things so naturally, and even then I think Yote wins. Yeah, I wish I would have done a story breakdown about how people, I think, fundamentally misunderstand the story. I don't think it's a story of revenge. I think it's a story of redemption and rebirth, and I think it's signaled very loudly in the beginning when she dies, and basically... she dies and comes back, and they think she's a spirit. And I think that's meant to signify more than just like, oh, the legend of the ghost was born in that moment when she fights the snake or whatever in like the first fight, the first 10 minutes or whatever. I think the rebirth that happens in that moment is meant to be the lens, or almost like the type that you view the story through. I think you're meant to view the game through that lens of like, Atsu's being reborn. She's quote unquote supposed to be dead when her family dies. She's reborn into a warrior. Then when she goes and initiates her quest, she dies and is reborn as this spirit. This spirit of revenge. But then I feel like the journey ultimately kills that side of her, and then she's reborn and is sort of redeemed as a person, and like, I have something greater to live for now. I have the love is truly, I think, what it is that transforms her as a character. I think people miss that. I watched a video of a guy break the story down, and it was just so reductionist. It was just reducing it down to like, it's just revenge, and then she just decides revenge bad. And it's like, what? No. Jin abandoned his humanity, and Atsu embraced hers. Oh, re-embraced hers. I don't think Jin abandoned his humanity. Jin chose what he viewed as a higher form of honor than what his uncle saw as honor. His uncle saw honor as duty to the code of the samurai. Jin's view of honor was helping those that can't defend themselves. So what Jin does is, actually, Jin doesn't, yeah, you're right, it's more about identity. Jin sacrifices his identity, his what basically had him grounded within the clan of Sakai and within his father's lineage, as well as within the samurai. He abandons that. He sacrifices his name and his identity, he becomes the ghost. Why? He feels that his honor is higher than the honor of his uncle and the samurai. So at some level, he becomes a hero not through killing others, but through sacrificing himself, fundamentally. And I feel like Atsu's journey is not the same, but there's a similar element of like, Atsu doesn't really have victory through revenge. Atsu has victory through abandonment of self. Like, this is who I thought I was. I thought I was this vengeful spirit. Like, the game opens, she's going to willingly die after she's done killing the Yote 6. She's going to end her life. That's what she thinks she is. Like, she's basically thinking that she's taking on the identity of a spirit. These games are very much about identity. And I don't think people pick up on it because I think they're too focused on like, well, it's just a boring revenge story. It's like, no, she's taking on the identity of an Onryo. Like, and then that's all her purpose is. Once her purpose of revenge is served, the Onryo goes away. It's a spirit that's no longer needed. She abandons the identity of a vengeful spirit and takes on the identity of like, wait a minute, I have a niece. Like, I have love that I can live for. And so, yeah, I think they both, at some level, are stories about identity and meaning and purpose, and not just like, you know, revenge. Or even Jin's story is not truly a story about honor. It's a story about identity and what it means to abandon one identity and take on the identity of another because you view it as a higher calling. So that's why the memories were so important. Yeah, the one story review I watched, the guy was talking about how like they don't give us any of her backstory or explain any of this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? The game's riddled with flashbacks. You get so much context of like her relationship with her brother and why she's viewing things the way that she's viewing them. It was all taught to her from her mother and her father and her relationship with her brother. Those are prominent moments in the game. And see, this is getting really good. So she also gets exposed to people that were so consumed by what she fundamentally saw as like a destructive form of identity, which was the the one guy that you run into and you get his armor. He's named after the flowers. Oh, frick. It was the best story in the dadgum game. And then there's the Crimson Kimono. So the side stories, I think, really, really show she starts to get exposed to people that were so consumed by that quest for something else, like whether it was vengeance or thinking that you're the one guy was consumed by he was consumed by guilt because his daughter died, and then Crimson Kimono was consumed by vengeance. So she gets to sort of see typology of like what she was going to turn into. She was going to turn into like a crazy legend of nothing but like death, sadness, guilt, and sorrow. So like Crimson Kimono and Spider Lily, the Spider Lily guy, those two side quests are part of Atsu's journey in seeing what she could become. She could become just a dark shadow and figment, some legend that's not redeemed and not good, but just nothing but like the Crimson Kimono, like that's just a blood-soaked kimono. And then the Spider Lily is consumed by guilt because he championed something higher than his daughter and it led to his daughter's death. The Spider Lily General, yeah. And I think that's part of her journey. She sees the emptiness of it. She sees the identity of what she's becoming as like, you're just going to become this legendary vengeful spirit. Like that's how you'll be remembered. There'll be nothing, that's not honorable to your family's memory or legacy or very satisfying way to live. And so I think that's when brother and niece come into frame. It completely changes her outlook. It completely changes her outlook. So again, her story is not one of revenge. Her story is one of redemption. And I think a lot of people miss that, unfortunately. So that's why I like Yote. I'm excited to go in and play more. It'll be cool, to see what they do with some of the flashbacks and some of her backstory and stuff like that. If you guys don't mind, try and get us to 300 likes. I would appreciate it very, very much. I played FF7 Remake and Rebirth back to back and kind of got burned out. Both amazing games, though. Oh yeah, that we were talking about getting burned out, like playing the games back to back. Yeah, it can be a big risk to do that. Oh, so this is one of the games we covered today. Star Wars Zero Company. Take a look at your headquarters where you can walk around in third person, manage your squad, upgrade weapons, access the galaxy map, heal injuries at the med bay, recruit new operators, talk to other squad members, and so much more. So this game is gotten very, very glowing previews. So if you like Star Wars and you like XCOM style games, this one is certainly winning a lot of attention already, and we don't even have review embargo yet. This is just previews. It's really not hard to miss given all the consequences each time she chooses revenge. Well, and I think there is some underpinning of deterministic philosophy there, right? Is her entire fate determined by what happened to her? Right, because if you look at Crimson Kimono and you look at Spider Lily General, you might think that you might get very fatalistic or deterministic as a philosophical view of this was their determined destiny given what happened to them and given everything that led to it, and she was on a similar path of you're just going to become this, and her bucking against that and abandoning that. It again it's an arc of redemption for her. It's not just revenge bad, I'm not going to do revenge anymore. Thank you for the $2 super chat for Get Me Not. They're definitely making a third-person Star Wars game and probably use this game for some testing. I'm confused as to what you're referring to. These guys specialize in this type of game, the XCOM style game. We also have third-person Star Wars games in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, as well as the Battlefront games. So I'm not really sure why you would think these developers are testing anything. That's what these guys do. They make these types of games. The pedigree of the studio behind Star Wars Zero Company is literally XCOM style games, and that's what this is. It's a Star Wars XCOM game, basically. I wish it wasn't a tactics game. I'm so trash at them. I am not a tactics guy either, so we'll see. We'll see what I end up feeling about it. Severed Gods. Early access is out now. Wait, did they just launch their early access? Oh, 2 days ago. Mixed. 66%. Yeah, this was the one that I thought looked really, really good. I followed them on Twitter and tweeted their one video out. Doesn't look like their early access experiment is going particularly strong. Yeah, there's a third Jedi game coming. Cameron Monaghan, the main actor for for the games, he plays Cal Kestis. He confirmed that the third game was already basically moving when they shipped the second one. So... okay, so tomorrow Duskvade comes out. So what we'll probably do tomorrow is we'll do some gaming news, and then I'll be probably checking out Duskfade. We've been wanting to check out games, when they come out, newer games, especially. And then also Wild Blue Skies comes out tomorrow. That's the love letter to Star Fox that I played the demo of on Steam. So Wild Blue Skies releases tomorrow, Duskfade, and Hell Let Loose Vietnam also drops tomorrow. I don't think I'll be playing Hell Let Loose. Military shooters, World War or Vietnam era, military shooters don't really call to me anymore. But I definitely want to check out Duskfade and Wild Blue Skies. I don't know if we're going to go 3 wide tomorrow, like talk show in 2 games. We could always do a talk show 1 game and then bump one of them to the next day. I'm not sure. It's on sale right now. What's on sale? What do you mean? Yeah. And then more and more games and things will be coming out. Like Neo's got like DLC coming and stuff. So make sure you guys have done your due diligence of hitting the like button today, as well as checking your memberships and renewing. That's 3 hours, and the news cycle's kind of winding down a little bit. And I also probably want to maybe even work on an upload today. So something for the YouTube channel. If you guys appreciated today's stream, appreciated, having some members only chat, make sure and use your membership and cash it in the Discord. That way you guys are able to continue your journey with the talk show as well. Let me just check one last thing here. One can hope. Let's see here. You playing GTA today? No, we decided that is not going to work. Yesterday in particular, the language just got ridiculous. It was like, the mission was fine. I didn't get like frustrated with the mission or anything, but like the language was absurd. And I run a Safe for Work broadcast, and I didn't think it was a good idea to like flood my channel for 14 weeks with content that is like aggressively not safe for work. Checking out GTA 6 like on its launch date, sure. Covering it, sure. Digging in long term with that game is just not in the cards. It's not in line with who I am, the people that I know, the people that I'm in community with. I have friends and friends' kids who watch my content, and I was just like, this isn't going to work. I thought avoiding the single player story would help. It's really not any better. So it just didn't seem like a good idea. I was like, this isn't going to work. It also just isn't very the onboarding just not really conducive either. Like it was really working against me yesterday. The first 2 days I was surprised I was having so much fun. And then yesterday I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is what I want to do for the next 14 weeks. I am in a bit of a spot right now with content in general, just thinking differently about what I want to do, what I want to talk about. We want more positive vibes. We want to talk more about games instead of getting into all. That's like with the Xbox stuff. I just don't really care to talk about Asha Sharma and Xbox right now because it's just so negative, and they've just been so consistently dishonest. And the id Software stuff just really turned me off from the brand, more than I probably ever have been. And I would rather spend time working on uploads. I've got some uploads. I've got some things I want to make about Onimusha and Control. Maybe something about this Yote announcement. I'd rather spend time doing that than playing a game that I very much feel like is not really in line with the brand and what I've kind of built. And also just not in line with me and my own personal beliefs and like the kind of content I want to create. It just didn't feel like it was going to line up. I thought we could avoid it in the online. I thought I'll play with you guys. We'll goof off. It didn't seem like that was going to work. Yesterday it was within 2 minutes, I heard the F-bomb probably 20 times. I was like, okay, I didn't expect this. I expected that more in like the story. Little throw-off missions where you get in shootouts with guys. It started to get to the point where I'm like, it just made me feel like I don't think this aligns with my brand or my values and the kind of content I want to make. So, and I know a lot of people have tuned in over the years and have appreciated that we run Safe for Work. 14 weeks of that game. We could spend the next 14 weeks really digging in and focusing on big games or launches or announcements, previews, reviews, state of plays, whatever. and having a great time and not doing something that I feel like is antithetical to the brand and things that I want to do. So it was unexpected. I didn't think I was going to get in there and have fun. But it's not going to work long term. We still have it. I know a lot of you are going to want to play GTA. You're going to want to play GTA Online, and some of you got back into it and are playing in the community. We have the crew still. You can get into the Discord as a member, and you can join the crew. You can play with the homies. They're all still in there doing it. You know, just not going to be a daily thing for me on the channel. So we'll continue the discussion and kind of look for things to cover tomorrow. We'll kind of make a decision about what we want to do with Duskblade and Wild Blue Skies. Kind of 2 games coming tomorrow that were already on my radar, and we'll be doing that. And then I'll timestamp my thoughts and reactions about like Phantom Blade Zero. And then my thoughts on the previews for Star Wars Zero Company, and then Hogwarts Legacy 2 potentially being like a live service or like an MMO. Do I think there'll be a third Ghost? I don't know. I really don't know. Riftstorm, what about Riftstorm? Is that tomorrow? Maybe a separate YouTube channel? No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to do anything with Riftstorm. I definitely was paying attention to it, but like every little indie title that I wishlist on Steam, I can't make time for. Yeah. We don't necessarily have that luxury on YouTube. If I was only, like some Twitch streamer or something, that would be, hey, yeah, let's just roll through a bunch of indie titles today. You don't have that luxury on YouTube. It can be very damaging when you do that sort of thing. So I don't think they're going back to Infamous. I don't know what they could do in another Ghost game. I think they've kind of run out of space. You had the stances with Jin. You have all the weapons with Atsu. I think they can be done. I think they put a nice closing, nod to Tsushima and Jin inside of Yotei, and I don't think they need to do another one. I think they could move into either back to Infamous, or they could just do something that's very like Infamous adjacent, that's like clearly, inspired by their work. I don't actually think they're going to go back to Infamous or Ghost. I think they'll do something new. I think they'll pull from both games and be like, what could we do that kind of, brings together everything we learned from Infamous and making the Ghost games. So, yeah. Anyway, appreciate your guys' ongoing support. Thanks for 300 likes. We're going to continue this conversation in the Discord. If you're watching today and you're not a member, really going to keep saying this. If you like these shows every single day, consider supporting with a membership. That is the only reason I'm able to do this full time. And when you do that, you get a lot of perks and benefits, including the Discord, which is where we're going right now. All right. Thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you guys tomorrow.